I apologize. Sorry for the ear rape there. It is I, John. Lovely to see you all today. It is, in fact, hump day, middle of the week, Wednesday, fun times. Here we are. DCU Daily. Thank you for the people in the chat for being very patient right now, but we have some big things to talk about today, of course. The DC thing being the obvious one, but we'll get to that in a minute. Obviously, we still have Odyssey stuff to talk about, still killing it, proving all the haters wrong. Then a little bit of a preview for this upcoming San Diego Comic-Con, a little bit of that. Speaking of, we have MCU Weekly stuff. Kevin Feige apparently has spilled the tea on various things, so we're going to be talking about that. And then in addition to that, we were talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. A lot of Doomsday, a lot of Brand New Day. Going to be getting into that. Then a little bit of Biz of Hollywood, more about the Sony Cinerama thing, as well as the merger. So, obviously, talking about that. Then, of course, quick hits, good times. Love the quick hits, especially if they're quick. And then we got DC news to talk about. A little bit of a preview for Lanterns at upcoming Comic-Con. And then the big kahuna today, the big one, Clayface has dropped. They're like, oh, Marvel, you think you're all that with your nostalgia bait and your cameos? Well, how about cinema? So we're going to be talking about that. Our boy Ricky September absolutely killing it, and we're going to be talking about it. We're going to go still by still. We're going to do Easter eggs. We're going to let you know our thoughts. We're going to do all things in regards to Clayface. So with all of that, let's get the party started truly and have some fun and get ready for some DCU Daily and news talk.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. Number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chords.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the world needs now.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Here we are. I am, of course, the host with the most, John. Lovely to see you all. I'm not in the best of moods right now. No, for no reason. For anyone here, just people doing dumb shit, and it makes me mad. So unfortunately, not in a great mood today. But hopefully, talking about Clayface will rise my spirits. And then I see Caleb in the chat, and then the spirits down they go. But that's okay, because Monique is ready to talk about her wonderful dinner. Ham salad with choice of veggies on sourdough, also french fries with your choices. I do like the french fry part. I've never heard of a ham salad before. Never heard of a ham salad. So what is it, just like meat with stuff in it? Or is it like a salad with ham in it? I'm curious about that. Caleb, nice to see you sometimes. And then, what are your thoughts on Aaron Flitcher? Says DC Studio expected Clayface to bomb at the theaters, and I don't believe it. I mean, I don't even know who Aaron Flicker even is. Who the fuck is that? Yeah, no, not the heat, just stupid shit. That's all. Anyway, but let's get the news properly started because we got to talk about the Odyssey. The Odyssey is they got a journey going on, and we are here for it. The Odyssey scores $21 million. Dan isn't ready yet, so we're just gonna take him out of here. $21 million, record Tuesday for Christopher Nolan. Second U.S. weekend could top Dark Knight, so that's very interesting. But yeah, Christopher Nolan scored his best Tuesday ever, and that's ever. At the domestic box office as The Odyssey rang up $21.4 million. That bests his previous Tuesday hit, which was Dark Knight, which was $20.8 million back in 2008. The revised number from Universal ranks as the second best Tuesday year to date, behind Toy Story's 23.69, and it's the second best Tuesday ever for Universal after Jurassic World. So yeah, Odyssey is again still proving the haters wrong, by making all the money. Hell, even if it is just going to scalpers, it's still, it is still gonna get money. Um, it is truly the best movie since The Dark Knight. Ham, hard-boiled egg, onion, and/or celery. Pulse it finely in a processor, mixing mayo, mustard, kind of like tuna salad or chicken salad, but with ham. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah, scalpers, no scalpy. I'm not gonna take my anger out on you. Calm down. Stop being a bitch. Just don't be an asshole today, and I won't be an asshole back. That's all. But yeah, congrats for the Odyssey. Love to see it. Um, and it's obviously hitting all types of records. Um, and we love it. We absolutely love it. Obviously, as we all know, the Odyssey will hold all IMAX and PLF screens in its second weekend, charting a course for a 40 to 50% ease in the $61.874 million range. There's a chance that the movie bests the second frame of Nolan's Dark Knight movies, meaning either The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, cool stuff. And then you got Motor City here, which is not great. That it was put up against the Odyssey, but hey, we got Hades the musical. Booked. I will say I am curious about Motor City. It looks like fun. I might go see it this weekend. Hades Town. Probably not gonna see that. Not really my interesting, but it still deals with mythology. So if you're kind of going through that mythology kick, then with the Odyssey, then go into Hades Town. Then Her Private Hell from Nicholas Winding Refn is doing okay as well. So yeah, Odyssey is killing it while everyone else is struggling to catch up. But that is usually the case for Christopher Nolan and everyone else. Also, hello, Movie Spud. Clayface trailer was terrific. Haven't had ham salad in years. Yeah, nobody can. Me and Dan tried. And I literally went through I fucking went full tism mode on this, and I went through every single screening for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And bam, 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 nothing. Even the one that had ones like easily was just, bam. Nobody, no, we couldn't even get it in time. So yeah, I gotta say it's really worth seeing it in 70mm IMAX. Staying in that format the whole time is special. I would imagine so. Yeah, and if you didn't like the Odyssey, you can wait for Elon Musk's, white supremacist AI Odyssey, so that's gonna be fun. But I saw someone sitting on the floor in a handicapped seat.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
Anyway, hi
considered
Dan,
that,
how
by
are you
the way.
doing
Hey,
today?
It's been a long day. So hey
Been a
Stacy, Movie Spud,
long day
Monique,
without you,
MTG,
my
or
friend.
Katna, Caleb. I was just gonna say, by the way, the second weekend of the Odyssey, they're looking at like 64 to 70 something million. But if it goes over that, if it goes over 75, it could beat the second weekend of the Dark Knight. And the Dark Knight Rises, it could probably beat it even if it goes past like 64, I think was the Dark Knight Rises. So again, a lot of those all-time records for Nolan in play, which is good. It's good. The Odyssey is definitely the biggest budget that Nolan has ever had. He's never made a movie that's anywhere close to 250 million. I mean, I'm sure the Batman movies were up there, but 250 million, that's $250 million, and they're certainly earning that money back right now. So Universal couldn't be more happy. And yeah, I mean, hey, if you can get a ticket, go see it. Hey, Sanju. I am gonna go see it again. I was hoping to save my second viewing for the 7mm one, but I'm like, should just go see it at once and then just wait for the 70mm time, whenever that happens. It's sort of like that. I don't know if it's a cold, Monique, but yeah, I've been a little stuffy and kind of like body aches throughout, so it might be a cold, it might be like something more. So we'll see. Figure Drawing, by the way, I saw his comments. He went through the whole tier list from yesterday's show, and I mean, Caleb left us like another 15 horror franchises we could do. So yeah, what was it? Figure Drawing, you disagreed about something. You were surprised that John liked Hellraiser or didn't like Hellraiser, and then you said something about Friday the 13th being a lot better than John gave it credit for, even though the movies are bad. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're schlock, but like the fact that honestly, I was kind of shocked with a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, S tier." Not saying that's a bad thing, but usually Friday the 13th is like kind of the slasher franchise that nobody like. They like it, but like it's not great. So I'm surprised. Like, oh yeah, S tier. Yeah. So
by the way, I was gonna say, John, they're definitely gonna keep adding the 70mm IMAX screenings, even though.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, but I feel like But I feel like, with the scalpers, I feel like they need to like get on that because I know, and apologize Figure Drawing for bringing it up, but Steam did a really good thing when it came to the Steam controller. They set up all these different things where it's like, oh, you can only get one. It's a spot in line. It's this, that, and the other thing. So they did a lot of stuff to get on top of the scalpers, which I think like maybe you need to start an account. And the account needs to be at least like 6 months old or a year old.
I think that's
probably more than a year since they went on like a year ago.
Yeah.
So
like I mean, I don't know. It's the problem is creating any more friction to people buying tickets to a movie in today's economy for the Hollywood is probably something that a lot of theaters and studios would not want to do, because for them it's like they got the money regardless of who's sitting. I mean, and to be fair, like I don't think people aren't. I mean, those scalpers are probably selling some of those tickets anyway. So it's like, I know that money's not going to the movie studios and the theaters, but they get the money from like the original ticket sale anyway. It's just, I think it's gonna be a situation where like Sinners got re-released. I think the Odyssey will be playing in 70mm IMAX later this year as well, in between that area when the fall months before we get to the Dune part of the year. But I also think that we're oh yeah, Steven, we're gonna get into that later. Days of Thunder 2. But hello. Yeah, I think the Odyssey, they're gonna keep adding more showtimes for 70mm even when Spider-Man is out, because Spider-Man isn't shot for 70mm IMAX. Like if you watch Spider-Man Brand New Day in 70mm IMAX, if they would have to blow it up and then you lose detail on the left and the right, or you get black bars, which defeats the purpose of it. So I think for 70mm IMAX, because like I said, there's only like 25, right? You said yesterday in the US, and all over the world there's only like 41. So like normal IMAX screens there's a lot more of, and I feel like those will mostly go to Spider-Man Brand New Day, and maybe they'll kind of alternate maybe a couple of Odyssey screenings. But I think for 70mm, that's gonna be the Odyssey's territory, even though it's not exclusive. It just doesn't make sense. Like the Spider-Man movie just wasn't filmed for that tall of an aspect ratio. So oh yeah, I think the Odyssey is definitely an awards contender for sure. It's gonna make a lot of other movies' lives very difficult next year. It would be really great to see Nolan win another best directing Oscar, but I mean, 2 within 3 years, that's rare territory. I don't even know if the greats have done that, but or when the last time it was that one director won 2 out of 3 years, but that's what he would be looking. Actually no, 2 out of 4 years, because it was 22, was it, or 20? When did it come out? Was 23 that Oppenheimer came out, so he won in 24. So then 26 to 27. So yeah, like 2 and 4 years technically, but it is what it. Anyway, John, I saw this article in Esquire, and they're not the only ones to suggest this. We talked about, what was it, like 2 days ago, that Nolan said this movie, and especially between this and Oppenheimer, has taken so much out of him that he wants to probably wait at least 3 years till be. He kind of implied till he starts. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what he said exactly, because like his wording was a little vague. He said it will, at least another 3 years before I get, do another movie. But I don't know if that means another 3 years before we get a movie from him or another 3 years before he starts working on one. But the point is, Nolan's taking a well-deserved and well-earned break for at least, let's say, a year or two. But after that, Esquire is suggesting the headline here, and I've read this from multiple people. I've read it in reviews because the Odyssey has multiple straight up horror sequences, which goes off the original poem, and people want to see what Christopher Nolan could do with, a horror movie as his next thing. And I mean, I just want to put it out there. I feel like for me, that would be like the equivalent of Martin Scorsese doing, I'm forgetting right now.
Shutter Island?
Shutter Island. I was thinking of like something Island. I'm like, okay. Like I said, long day. But like that would be the equivalent of Martin Scorsese doing Shutter Island.
It's just like did that. Not that like you can't make a big epic horror movie. It's just like it would be weird because usually Christopher Nolan has gone like bigger and bigger and bigger with every single movie. So I can't imagine him doing like this small knit kind of genre. So I'm curious with how he'll kind of
but
make
bigger
it
is
work.
relative though, right? It depends on like when you talk about scale, like what kind of scale, because like Oppenheimer was big, but it wasn't like, it was a very much like it was a biopic, but it just was a very expansive biopic. And they had multiple locations. It wasn't like the Odyssey where they're like shot in like 11 different countries or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad point because everything else he's done is like big canvas cinema. So, but like Shutter Island, you can make a point that while it's sort of like a one location movie in the sense that it's on that island, it still feels like a big story. Like it's contained.
I mean, Insomnia, I remember, kind of had horror-esque elements as well.
I mean, I know that Syncope is him and Emma Thomas, his partner, his wife. They're a production company, Syncope. I'm sure they pull a lot of money out of, they get probably back end points on these movies, but there's no reason for him to, dude. Just remember what Heath Ledger's Joker said in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight: if you're good at something, never do it for free. So I don't think Nolan will ever need to or has to or want to or will, consider financing his own movie. The only reason why Francis Ford Coppola did it for Megalopolis is because nobody wanted to give him the money to do it. So, and then nobody wanted to pay, to even put anything on the line for the distribution of the movie. So I don't think Nolan needs that. But yeah, 20% of net gross, 20% of the gross net, not net, but gross is what Nolan is making. Yeah. 20% of the gross. Yeah. I mean, I can't tell if you meant net gross or gross. It was kind of confusing how you worded that, but I mean, because net gross would be after the studio gets their money back. Gross would be just straight up what the box office does. That's a lot of money. I think, again, Nolan will be fine. Like, for example, I think Tom Cruise had a 10% gross deal for Top Gun Maverick, and he ended up getting like 100 million or something out of it because it was, the amount of money that movie made. So like, very few people can pull that these days. Like you could count them on one hand, Tom Cruise and Nolan being two of them. So yeah, let's would Nolan ever do a slasher? I don't know if Nolan wants to do a slasher. I think that's going too narrow. I mean, wouldn't put it past him, but like I think the example would be more like, you see what's a good example? Let's say if you think about Martin Scorsese, I mean, Martin Scorsese has ventured beyond the crime drama category a few times, but he tends to stay in there more often than not. Then you have, of course, like you've got Steven Spielberg. Like he's done like pretty much every genre, like even horror. He did Jaws, he did Jurassic Park. So I think that's probably a better equivalency. Like, Nolan is going to play with different genres. None of those movies from Spielberg that you could classify in the horror genre are primarily a horror movies. I don't think slasher is going to be something he would do. I don't know for sure, but he's never talked about like, oh my God, Friday the 13th are my favorite movie series or something like that. So, okay. So per Forbes, it's the full gross. Yeah. Nolan's going to be just fine. He's going to make 100 million plus on this movie on top of what he already got paid, just because it's going to be $1 billion film at the box office. So, I mean, look, Nolan's always done psychological thrillers, Memento, Prestige, What was the one before that? Even his first movie was kind of a psychological thriller. I'm forgetting the name right now. The Following, um, and those are elements that are part of a lot of these stories. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does a psychological thriller. That's what Shutter Island is like. It's a psychological thriller horror movie. Doing Jack the Ripper would be something that I think Nolan might be interested in, because it's like, a famous British myth, and I think that's just a kind of story. Like when he did Dunkirk, that was something that was very personal to him. Not, I don't know if he's got any family connections from the war, but it was a personal story from him. The dudes from across the pond, and Dunkirk was a generational event that was obviously a part of a much bigger event that was World War II. But yeah, so and he's gonna, if he wants to, I think Jack the Ripper could be a good one. But if he's gonna do it, if Christopher Nolan does a horror movie or anything that kind of crosses over with horror, which like the Odyssey does, it's rated R. There's scenes in it, like the Cersei stuff was body horror. You talk about like Nolan did body horror in the Odyssey. He did like the straight, I mean, even jump scares, like the Cyclops sequence, there's jump scares in there once they get locked in. So he's done like a lot of horror in the Odyssey. So it's like when the moment and the story asks for it, he's not afraid to do that. My cats are jumping out everywhere on the furniture, and I'm hearing sounds, and I'm worried they're gonna knock something over. Caleb, what's F13? Oh, Friday the 13th. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna touch that too much. Angelica, hello. I already watched the Odyssey 2 times. Evil Dead Burn for the second time around. That's awesome. That's awesome. What did you think about both movies? Which one is better? I suppose that's not a fair comparison. Apples and oranges. Hey, Ron, how are you doing, man? Caleb saying it would be interesting how Nolan would do something like The Fly. I suppose it's possible. I suppose so. I'm not really sure. Figure Drawing saying I've seen some people say that in hindsight, regarding the Odyssey, they think even more of it after. They think even more of it, more highly of it. Sorry, I keep misreading your comment. Okay, I'm gonna restart. So Figure Drawing is saying I've seen some people say that in hindsight about the Odyssey, that people think even more highly of it after a couple of days of seeing it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the kind of movie that most Nolan movies make you think. Like you walk out of the theater and you've got something on your mind, because the movies, they engage you and they give you something to think about, something to talk about, often more than one thing. And I mean, I remember walking out of The Dark Knight the first time just being like, oh shit, I thought the movie was done when the Joker got arrested, and then it was like a whole nother movie.
Start to get up. Let's go. Wait, what?
And then like it's the fat dude with the phone thing, and it's like, oh shit, the Joker's out, and then you get the whole Two-Face arc. It's like, okay, anyway. But like, and that's not the only one. Obviously, you can talk about some of these other examples too. Thank you, Ron, for checking in. Clayface coming out, a modern adaptation of The Fly would be too similar. I suppose so, but I think The Fly still has enough cachet that you could probably do it as its own thing. Yeah, Nolan, I mean, most Nolan movies they're not necessarily all thinking man's movie. It's just, they make you think. I think a thinking man's movie could be hinting at something else.
You know what I think could be interesting?
Yeah.
Like if we're going off of Nolan horror movies, like if he were to like remake like an old silent movie and like keep it silent, that would be cool.
Well, isn't what's that movie you were just talking about with Alan Ritson and all those people that's coming out this weekend?
Motor City.
It was an IFC thing, right? They picked it up off Toronto. Yeah, Motor City. They picked it up from the Toronto Film Festival, International Film Festival at TIFF. That's a movie that's basically got no dialogue, right? Isn't that the idea?
Yeah.
That's coming out it's only going to be in like 1,000 theaters or something, but like if you go see it,
we'll see if my theater has it, because I really want to see it. I'm sure that's on Liz. I'm sure that's on Liz's list.
Watch list, yeah. I'm sure it is. The other day I was watching an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Do you remember in one of the throwback flashback sequences?
Yeah, Hitchcock and Scully.
Hitchcock and Scully. And I was like, wait, is that Alan Ritson? Alan Ritson was playing a young Scully. It threw me off so completely. I was like, this is great. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine even more so now because of that. So
although it's funny because that brings up a continuity error, because earlier in the show they referenced
that's awesome, Ron,
when Hitchcock and Scully were like them in like the 70s, and it was essentially the two of them but in younger makeup. So it's like, how were they like
It's
old fat guys in the 70s, and then they were super hot young guys in the 80s, and then so like the continuity is a little iffy.
Don't overthink it, John. It's
a sitcom. You can't overthink it.
It's a single camera sitcom. It's. Ron finally saw Obsession. Angelica loved it. Angelica's gonna go see both Evil Dead Burn and The Odyssey a third time this week, which is amazing.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of Nolan movies tend to age well.
I think Nolan has too much respect for Alfred Hitchcock to remake any of his work.
To remake his stuff, exactly.
I mean, Gus Van Sant already did, but let's not talk about that. We already talked about that yesterday during Tier List Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, I mean, hey, look, I think a horror. You could say The Odyssey is kind of a horror movie in some ways. Even like, think about it, right? Like it's straight up horror. And I was mentioning while you were away for a minute, there's the Cyclops sequence, which feels like your traditional jump scare horror. The psychological thriller, because it's just the character arc that Matt Damon's Odysseus goes through. There's the Circe sequence, which is a lot of body horror. Even though you don't get to see all the grueling details, but like you do see enough of it to be like, that's body horror. And then like just the journey that Odysseus goes on, he realizes what he led his men to do and how it possibly brought about the end of the Bronze Age towards the end of the movie. I'm like, that's psychological horror on a different scale of how he's like, oh, we were the men, who were coming from the seas and pillaging towns. We were that was us. That was our story that was kept getting retold. It's just there's different kinds of like horror all over the Odyssey. I feel like, so horror he's got that covered. I just, somebody brought up Jack the Ripper, John. Do you think Nolan could do a Jack the Ripper?
That could definitely, like that's like a
right up his
very
alley.
much like a British, thing that was like very much like
he did Batman, and like there's some
I think like
there,
here's the thing. In terms of Nolan doing like a horror movie, he needs to go full Robert Eggers. He needs to do like a period piece. He needs to like do something along those lines. Honestly, it could be really cool because a lot of those stories are drenched in horror.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan doing Sherlock Holmes. Like if he did like a Hound of the Baskerville adaptation, that could be really
if there's anybody, although there's been so many of those, it's like
I know, but like, or maybe a story that hasn't been done as much. Hound of the Baskervilles is a pretty big one. One that hasn't been done as much, maybe and have him not do a Moriarty like story, because that's no one has to do more. No, don't do Moriarty. Like just have it be sort of just like just kind of doing that. I think that could be really cool.
Yeah. That would be cool. By the way,
oh my God,
Sleepy Hollow,
bruh, don't say that. I'm a nut.
Cillian Murphy as Sherlock.
Although it would be funny, like an Irishman playing a British icon. So
I'm sure he's done it before, or would be down to do it again.
I mean, he already had a Welsh man play an American icon, so it works.
It works. Dan, do you think Nolan can direct Swamp Thing movie if he wants? Angelica? I don't know, Angelica.
He has said he's never going to do another superhero movie ever again.
I think this is why I think Sherlock Holmes is not an IP per se, because it's not like it's owned by one specific studio. But
it's public domain.
It's public domain, but like the point I'm trying to make, there's been with Sherlock, there's been so many adaptations. I don't think Nolan wants to be like, oh, I'm going to put my name in the conversation.
Like Jack, but there's also been a lot of Jack the Ripper like stories too, though.
That's true. I suppose if he wanted to do, if he felt like he had some really unique, story or version to tell that's so different from everything else, and he could, I suppose he could do that. As far as DC, Marvel, superhero, any IP stuff, I think outside of Bond and he would want Cate Blanchett with the budget and creative and everything.
Right.
Unless he gets that, he's never doing Bond, which it's a tragedy that Amazon MGM wouldn't just be like, all right, Nolan, you do your thing.
So let's get the next best thing. We got Denis Villeneuve. Yeah.
It's just I wish, like, I don't know where they're going with this. I just would have loved. This was the perfect time. Nolan was coming off the Odyssey. You give Nolan a Bond movie and be like, you do your James Bond. We don't have a Bond running right now. and then we will start a franchise a few years later. But you give us $1 billion bond, and all of a sudden everybody's like, okay, Amazon MGM's got their shit together. We just got the best. I mean, it's a lot to live up to though if you do a Nolan Bond movie and then somebody has to follow that up. So there's ups and upsides to that and downsides to it. But I mean, Nolan could do a kaiju flick, but like Grand Gear comes out next year, so I'm Transformers. There's a lot of competition, but I mean, hey, Nolan's got a few years to figure this out. He said 3 years minimum. So whether that means he's gonna wait till 3 years to start on anything, or it's at least 3 years before we see anything from him. The Odyssey, I'm sure, will tide us over, and we'll be talking about it, next year at the Oscars as well. So we'll leave that there for now, John. Let's move on. We gotta. I think we were falling behind on our timing here, but let's talk about San Diego Comic-Con.
Just quick thing about no, that's not Comic-Con. This is This is a knife. San Diego Comic-Con's best panels: Avengers, Doomsday, Lanterns,
So
Percy Jackson.
just
and
setting
more.
the table. San Diego Comic-Con starts tomorrow. If you're watching us live, it starts tomorrow. But basically, it's here. And I figured this article in Variety, they kind of went through like what would be probably the most notable panels throughout the week. So John, I figured if you want to walk us through some of those, because you see the image here, we know we're getting DC and Marvel. We are even getting the Acme movie, but there's more than that too. So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's do a preview of San Diego Comic-Con 2026.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, we got Avengers Doomsday, of course, Saturday, July 25th, 5:30
That's gonna be the big
Hall
one.
H.
I think we're gonna do a stream to react to that stuff once that happens. Because
Hopefully, we'll try our best,
Saturday,
but
we'll see.
then Lanterns, of course. I'm gonna back it up a tiny bit. That's gonna be the day before. That's gonna be this Friday at
We'll be
1:30.
doing that
So
on Friday.
that's
So
that's definitely gonna be
Friday night's DCU Daily. We're gonna be talking about all the Lantern stuff. That'll be fun.
yeah.
I don't know what they're
And
gonna
how
do,
much
John.
ass it's gonna suck.
I don't know like what they're gonna do, because I'd imagine maybe a new trailer, bring the cast out. They're probably done with post-production at this point, so like the producers will be out there. I would love to know if they already have plans for a season 2, or like whatever unofficial plans they have, make them official. It's also a bit of a limbo kind of a situation, because like with the merger pending right now, will Casey Bloy stick around next year? So like our show is going to be waiting to get a green light for another season until they have more certainty around what's going on. So there's going to be stuff like that, but I would hope that we get to see both Kyle Chandler and Pierre at Comic-Con, and I hope we get a new trailer, because
I think they are going to show Kyle Chandler, but he's only going to show up for the first 5 minutes and then leave. So
it matches with the vibe of the show.
yeah. But next up we got another James Gunn related thing is Coyote versus Acme. That's going to be at 7:30 on Saturday. Fan screening at AMC Mission Valley. So that's exciting. Like, people are going to get a sneak peek at that, which is awesome. I can't wait to see that. Not just for the history of it all. It just looks like a genuinely funny movie. So,
and John Cena's comedic timing is very underrated, right? So like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. It's like, they were Decepticons, guys. How do you ever think they were the good guys? It's like, it's right in the name. It's like, thank you, John, for pointing that out, even though you just were doing your job and reading a script, or like getting your,
they're called Decepticons. Like,
I love how in that movie he goes from being like the hard ass that you hear about, see in the trailer, to being like somebody who's genuinely relatable. I'm like, that's John Cena for you, like
he just makes anything relatable.
Yeah.
That's just how he is as a person. He's just like, he could play fucking Jeffrey Dahmer and be like, you know what?
I wouldn't know about that, but sure.
Honestly, now I want to see it. Now I want to see John Cena as Jeffrey Dahmer. That would be fun.
You've talked yourself into that. That's great. All right. Okay, let's keep going.
But and then Ray Gunn.
By the way,
Ray Gunn,
back to the Marvel thing.
Peak cinema.
I can't wait for this. Is there did we do a trailer for this already? Did we talk about the was that the trailer?
There was no trailer. There
were
just pictures. There was just
okay. All right. So I hope we get a trailer. I mean, you got to give us a trailer. That's tomorrow. So we might be talking about a trailer tomorrow night.
But yeah, for more than 30 years, our boy has wanted to make this movie. So we are going to get a little bit of it. But I don't know if we're gonna get a trailer, but I would hope so. But yeah, that would be awesome. Forgotten Island, which looks surprisingly good. Like I think
it does.
DreamWorks, way to go, man. We really appreciate you.
This is the one with, what was it? Timothy Chalamet is one of the voice actors.
No, that's Not Alone. That's a different one.
Oh, okay. Obviously they probably have a big celebrity.
This is like two best friends. I think they're like in the 90s. One of them is like about to like go to college. One's kind of more of a screw up and is gonna be stuck in their hometown. And they're like, oh, we don't want you to forget me, but maybe she's like, oh, but I need to move on. And then they get sucked into this kind of land of the lost kind of place, and the longer they stay there, the more they forget their lives. So they need to like get out of there before they forget each other permanently. So
honestly, that doesn't sound like an animated movie, but I can't wait. Like the
story, it's really
like
cool. It's really cool. Like I'd say go watch the trailer, because the trailer came out like a month or two ago, and I'm like, oh, this, and plus it definitely has that like, you know, Spider-Verse. I love how like that's just what it is now. It's like, it's not like, oh, that new animation. No, it's just Spider-Verse animation. But like it's the animation looks really good, looks unique and experimental, especially when they're going, because it's like part of it is like they're going through their own memories, but like as like separate people, and it's just like very cool with how they do it.
So I was gonna say, John, because they actually did a special screening for this at CinemaCon, and I remember talking about that and reading into it and everything. Then the reactions were great. So if the CinemaCon reactions are anything to go off of, then I think this is gonna be a great movie. By the way, I do hope we get a Harry Potter panel of some kind, MTG.
But you know, we are getting a panel of Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, because that's what the people want to see.
The reviews are out now, by the way. I think it just released, so. HBO Max, or it's coming out soon. I don't know. It's either out or coming out soon, but yeah, nice.
Anyway, and then Blade Runner 2099, in the works at Amazon since 2022. This new entry in the Ridley Scott universe revolves around characters in distress. You got Michelle Yeoh, you got Hunter Schafer. So this is kind of cool, and that's going to be on Friday at 10 a.m.
Can't wait. Oh, and quick to address Steven's question. We will be live with DC Daily on Friday, so we'll talk about the Lantern stuff then. And then I think we're going to try to do a live show on Saturday to talk about Marvel's Hall H presentation. So we will try to cover both. So yeah, stick around for that. Saturdays, of course, the day that we don't usually do things. But
ew, gross. Rings of Power. That's gonna be something. Carrie, I'm excited for this. This is gonna be Saturday, July 25th at 4:45 p.m. So I'm stoked. I'm ready to go. Mike Flanagan, our boy, the man of the hour, of course.
This is one of his several projects that he has been working on, which is why he couldn't direct Clayface, right? The Carrie. He's got a. This is by the way. This, speaking of Rings of Power, this is also an Amazon project. So yeah, I mean Matthew Lillard's in there, Sienna Agudong, sorry, Allison Thornton, Amber Midthunder, S tier name, S tier portfolio of credits too. By the way.
Yep.
I think John.
And we got Reacher and the spinoff nobody gives a fuck about. Neely.
Neely? Is it Neely or Neely? Is it silent?
It's Neely.
Why do I keep calling her Neely? Because I'm like, it sounds like Eagly without the, like, you know, but then N on top. It's just whatever. It's fine.
And then that's going to be on Saturday, July 25th at 3:30. You got Spaceballs, the new one. They're going to show that at Hall H on Friday at 4 p.m. Got Percy Jackson and Olympus. More mythology stuff. If you're on that mythology kick. Boom, there
Swords
we go. I love how this dude just fucking like went from little kid to like adult in like 2 years. Like it's just like immediate.
Dude, no, but like honestly, there's that show called Invasion on Apple TV, and there's this one kid who went through the biggest of growth spurts, and like from season 1 to 2 to 3, and the dude just keeps growing 1.5 feet every season, and they're like, they need to provide some continuity because the kid character actually dies in the first season or second season, but he keeps growing like it's so fast. I'm like, you know, like that's what you when you have kids like in your shows. That's why the Stranger Things crew looked like they were 30 playing 20. So by the end of the show, yeah. Does illegally sound like a slur? I don't know if it does, Caleb.
Then
Maybe
we
to you it
got
does.
adult animation. We got American Dad, Family Guy, the new King of the Hill reboot. A lot of stuff for that, so that's kind of cool. Ghosts and Eternally Yours, sure, they exist. Celebrating Star Trek. Remember when it was
before it
good?
goes in,
Because we
I mean,
don't.
before it goes into hiatus, because after next year.
Then we got the Vampire Lestat, because of course we do. And then we got Jim Lee talking about
The big
shit.
DC panel.
Cool, I guess. Matchbox the movie, guys.
Hey,
Let's
John
go.
Cena. John Cena.
John Cena. Yeah.
That's part of the Apple TV panel on Saturday, so we'll probably talk about that on Saturday after the Marvel stuff.
Saturday, July 25th. Yep. Nimrods, which is a movie. It looks pretty good. I guess. But yeah. That's it.
Good stuff. Can you go back to the Marvel thing for a second? So that's the big one on Saturday. So like Saturday, 5:30, they'll have like, I think it's like a 2-hour panel. They skipped last year basically because they were working on all this stuff, and we'll talk about it more in a few minutes. But John, what are you, just in general, what are your expectations from this? Like, do you expect all the Avengers Doomsday cast on stage? Do you expect X-Men announcements? Like any hopes and dreams for Marvel at Hall H?
That Doomsday gets nuked from orbit.
Great. And I mean, for me, I think any kind of X-Men announcement, or like especially movies post Secret Wars, which they don't have to announce, but if they were to give us, one of those Slate graphics with 10 logos, I wouldn't mind seeing that. There's also obviously, I think, every chance they don't talk about adding another secret movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars, but if there was any place for them to do that, that would be at Hall H. So we will see. Marvel's back in Hall H for the first time in like 2 years, and the last time they did it, they revealed RDJ returning as Doctor Doom. This time around, obviously, they might be giving us more of what's to come. But speaking of Marvel, John, let's talk about Kevin Feige, because last year he went on a press tour for Fantastic Four, gave us a bunch of information. He wasn't committing to a proper hard reboot of the MCU, but now he's out promoting Spider-Man Brand New Day, and he's been doing some marketing for Doomsday in China, and looks like he's spilling a lot of tea on the future of the MCU. Let's talk about it.
Very much so. He talks, all the Doomsday things. One of Kevin Feige broke his silence on the two blockbusters. Well, one of the jobs of filmmakers is to make sure a lot of people go to the theaters. So on the one hand, it's exciting to hope that theaters all over the world will be packed that weekend. On the other hand, we couldn't finish making Avengers Doomsday in May, so it had to be moved to December. He went on to say that the movie is special to him because he can now bring all these things together on the big screen, which wasn't possible before.
Wet dream since 2002, so I'm not surprised.
A cosmic collision with some of your favorite characters in each universe. In Avengers Endgame, everyone was united against Thanos. In Avengers Doomsday, the situation is even more precarious. 3 different universes, 3 different Earths, literally colliding with each other. The question then arises, will these heroes kill each other to protect their own worlds, or might they find a way to work together to save all 3 worlds? And how will Dr. Doom intervene? Oh god, I'm so tired. Just from talking about this. Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars were largely inspired by the storylines of Marvel Comics. Time runs out, and Secret Wars, so it's customary the comics provide significant guidance for the films we're making. In terms of Doom coming back, played by, your boy, we didn't want to just bring Tony Stark back. The ending of Avengers Endgame was one of our proudest moments. Seeing audiences worldwide react to Tony's sacrifice, so we didn't want him to just return magically. But in Marvel, there are many opportunities to see actors return in new ways. When we were casting for Doctor Doom, we said we need to find the greatest actor in the world. Doctor Doom is one of the most interesting characters. He's intelligent. He has an extremely high IQ. He can be a villain. But he also sees himself as a hero. We went to see Oppenheimer, for which he won an Oscar for, and we finally realized. You realized on the wrong fucking Oppenheimer actor, you stupid fuck! Cillian Murphy was right there. Right fucking there. And you're like, no, let's just do Downey again. Go fuck yourself. Honestly, for that one, like, he was right. Would he have said yes? Definitely not. But he was right fucking there. Guys, come on. Like, the fact that he said that, too, it's like, oh, it wasn't just like, obviously he's not going to say we cast him because we want to make money again and people like Robert Downey Jr. Obviously he's not going to say that, right?
I just feel like,
but
it's
the
a
fact
little
that he went out of
superficial
his
what
way to
he's
say, "Oh
yeah.
yeah, Oppenheimer, he was great in that, so we used him again," when everyone has been clamoring for Cillian Murphy as Doctor Doom for fucking years, because we can't have Mads Mikkelsen because you already wasted him as forgettable Marvel villain number 78 in Doctor Strange. So we can't use him. Lars Mikkelsen is, I don't know, off doing something else. So we're like, all right, Cillian Murphy, boom, there we go. And it's just like, nope. Nope. Y'all fucking suck, bro. Y'all fucking suck.
I was just gonna say, look, this is so him saying we went to see Oppenheimer, and RDJ won an Oscar for that, so we were like, hey, he is the best actor in the world. First of all, I know he won an Oscar for it, and that makes him the reigning best actor of that year,
best supporting actor.
Best supporting actor. Which Doom is not meant to be a supporting actor, but obviously he's done Spider-Man. So I will say this though, he's done this kind of comparison in the past, and I feel like sometimes he does it because he feels like it's like, oh wow, look, like we're the House of Marvel, and we address that there's Hollywood outside of us. But like for me, like when it's like, for example, like what was it, Godzilla -1, and he was like, we got to learn some lessons from those guys. Oh, the creator, we got to learn from how they did the VFX in that movie. And I'm like, now you're just like it's honestly because, look, Marvel isn't the nouveau rouge that it used to be 10 years ago. The MCU isn't the hot thing. It's not the hot stuff in Hollywood right now. So him making those comparisons a few years ago, even, we're like, okay, because he's looking down at everybody else. Now I'm like, when you say, oh, we went to see Oppenheimer, I'm like, oh, we got to get RDJ back. I'm like, it's like, dude, it's like, now it doesn't reflect well. Take the high road. Just don't, because there's nobody who's ever going to put Oppenheimer and Avengers Doomsday in the same conversation and remotely the same kind of quality of movie. So it just comes across as like, cheap connections and cheap pops. And I'm sorry, but like this comment kind of came across to me as like, come on, Kevin Feige. Like, it's like, let's be honest, like, stop bullshitting us. Like, I know you probably do your best work when you're not in front of a microphone, but like, let's be honest here. Come on. Because it's like he then talks about how, like, we didn't want to exclude Chris Evans for Captain America because he'd done a Marvel character before. I'm like, sure. And then he was like, oh, and we thought how great, bold, and risky it would be to bring back our most famous hero to play our most famous villain. Thank goodness he agreed. It's almost like, wait, are you trying to talk down to us, or are you just that bad at acting? Because it's like, what the fuck is he saying? I'm like, I get that you have every right to feel yourself in public of any producers in Hollywood.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Let's not get that crazy.
That's still illegal, Dan.
That's still, I mean, just ask Harvey Weinstein. But like, anyway, the point is, it's like, you got the resume. Yes, you got the resume, but like, please, let's be fair. Let's be honest here. Like, Marvel movies are not high cinema outside of maybe, I think, one or two you can point to, like Logan.
No,
and that wasn't even
no, not even one or two.
So,
no. Well, Logan,
you're talking about specific.
That
was an MCU. So. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Let's keep going. There's more stuff from.
It's just like fucking House of Feige. Kevin Feige.
This is the same quote in visual.
Yeah, there we go. Obviously, but apparently. Kevin Feige reveals that X-Men is a multi-stage saga. Yeah, of course it is. They're your fucking biggest characters. Confirms Miles Morales' Spider-Man plans. So he had this to say. The X-Men are at the forefront of the streamlined, simplified, single universe coming after Secret Wars, as that's kind of the obvious thing. Confirming that the X-Men will be at its core. Acquiring the X-Men rights isn't just about, for example, Wolverine is an outstanding character, and we were able to team him up with Deadpool, which is great, but the X-Men are far more than just Wolverine, far more than the original team. Fundamentally, it's a universe, it's a multi-stage saga. Much of that is what we're working towards. We're constantly changing, constantly evolving, but having some guidance helps us act more purposefully. especially with X-Men. It's already had 10 movies, some very, very good, some I think haven't lived up to expectations. How do we plan the mutant saga in a very grand way? That being said, we have many more characters to explore in the future. The schedule is already booked until 2042.
They got movies planned for the next 16 years. 16
Especially
years.
the X-Men. The X-Men, I mean, if we have a society by then. The X-Men have many unexplored characters from the Asia-Pacific region, particularly China. And, we got to get those... I mean, we got to get the Chinese, because that's where our box office, shit comes from. So we got to include more Chinese characters. Mm-hmm. Woohoo!
That's Kevin Feige,
which we're very eager to explore. That's why I'm excited about the X-Men. We can show the world different types of heroes.
Of heroes, sure. Oh, and look at this, John. He's referencing an Amazing Spider-Man villain.
He's like, there's a line in No Way Home where Elektra says there's always a black Spider-Man somewhere. Audiences around the world were thrilled because they knew it might be a hint at Miles. The good news is Sony has the Into the Spider-Verse series, which are very popular and excellent. Beyond the Spider-Verse, not Universe, is coming out next year. But yes, we definitely have plans for a live-action Miles, and I think a live-action Spider-Man movie has this destiny to add Miles sometimes after the Spider-Verse series ends.
So
we've been thinking and discussing more Spider-Man adventures, regardless of agreements or contracts. My production partner, Amy Pascal, is already working on it. We've had an in-depth conversation about in-depth discussions about what the 2, 3, 4, the next 5 Spider-Man movies might be about. Sweet fucking Jesus Christ.
So again, you remember, John, do you still have that photo somewhere from the Spider-Man family dinner? I think we should put that on screen while we talk about this. I heard about Ramaya, by the way.
I have no idea what you're
talking about. It's an Indian movie. No, remember the Spider-Man family dinner where Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige were in the photo, and Kevin Feige wasn't wearing a hat, and Amy Pascal was like,
I don't
weird
know.
dress.
I don't have that.
Hey, Pookie. I'm just because when he says stuff like my producing partner Amy Pascal, the stuff he was saying, okay, so he's not saying anything we don't know. Like Kevin Feige said, we got Spider-Man movies planned with the introduction of Miles Morales after those Spider-Verse movies are done. Now the thing there is, Sony isn't just going to finish up with the Spider-Verse after next year's trilogy capper. I think they want to do spin-offs. So I think for Kevin Feige, he's probably thinking we do another trilogy of Tom Holland movies, and then maybe we'll think about where we go, because by that time, Sony might have fucked up whatever they're doing with their spin-off. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. But honestly, for me, it's nothing new that we're not going to get Miles Morales introduced into the MCU until after they're done with that animated side of thing on the Sony side. But John, he also said in a different interview something similar, that he was recently in a writer's retreat kind of a situation, and they've got movies planned till 2042, and calling, of course, the X-Men thing a multi-saga situation. I'm like, how does that work with Avengers movies? And because the MCU has been sort of revolving around the Avengers as being these big crossover events or cappers, and 2042 is a long time. So Kevin Feige clearly not trying to go anywhere, but also what just for a moment, hang on to that for a second. The whole Spider-Man situation aside, what do you think the X-Men movies are 2042? That's if they do 2 movies a year, that's 32 movies in the next 16 years, right? At least. What do you expect? Because will the X-Men movies become the new Avengers movies? You do a big team up crossover, and then you do smaller ones maybe, because they're talking about X-Force, and you got maybe different teams of mutants going up against each other. What do you think they've got planned? I mean, might be.
I honestly don't know. Because maybe it'll be X-Men, but and then they're gonna do some solo movies like Gambit and Rogue, and then maybe eventually a Wolverine movie, whether it's a rebooted Wolverine, Daphne Keane, or Hugh Jackman coming back.
Well, apparently Hugh Jackman is not going anywhere, so he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
I you know what I'm interested in finding out is literally what becomes of the Avengers, because once the X-Men are in play and Spider-Man is still around, honestly, the Avengers will feel lesser than, especially if if the Avengers team that we knew for the past 10 or so years was still around, and it looks like they're probably doing a soft reboot at best. We'll get it into in a minute. I just don't know how that's all going to play out, because Wolverine is more popular, more people care about like Cyclops and Storm and stuff. I know you got Black Panther and stuff, but they've kind of like put them into the Wakandans and the Talokans. They're not really Avengers. They're just like their own nation state with their own set of heroes and stuff. It's gonna be interesting to see how they pivot the slate. I think that adds up into a certain degree that you have Avengers movies going from being saga cappers to being once again kind of like Age of Ultron, just crossover movies that you do every few years. But it's gonna be interesting to see how it all ties in, because once you have the X-Men, John, it's gonna be hard. Like the X-Men, he said, is an entire universe of characters onto themselves. So having the X-Men coexist and then also doing other things like Doctor Strange and Black Panther. I know in the comics they've done it, but it's like, how do you keep up with all that in live action? Because there's a lot of like, is the audience appetite there for that even? Like 15 years into the MCU at that point. So it's just going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But hey, I'm glad they got their ducks in a row for the next 16 years. Speaking of what's coming up after Avengers Secret Wars, John.
A streamlined, simplified, single universe. Sure. I'll believe it when I see it.
Simplified, single universe that's easier for audiences to follow. Some aspects.
So, like, literally, Crisis on you're just Crisis on Infinite Earthing this shit.
Yeah. Isn't that the Hickman run, like, of the, was it Secret Wars? Like, isn't that the idea? Because they say, like,
but there was still a Marvel multiverse. It was just some stuff was combined.
Right. But this is the thing. I don't buy the whole we're not doing the multiverse anymore, because there's been at least 2 or 3 occasions in the past where he said the multiverse is not gonna die. So I don't think, because here's the thing also, in between Loki and Endgame and every other Marvel multiverse story that we have seen, Marvel seems to think, like, the way they describe it, like a multiverse and different timelines and all those things don't seem to be all the same thing, the way they talk about it sometimes. So I don't know how all of that's going to work. I guess ultimately, like, if the multiverse is either there or it's not there, but like in the comics, like Ultimate Spider-Man became part of the mainline universe. So I guess the equivalent here would be the Fantastic Four will merge with the mainline universe, but I don't know how that works with like the Baxter Building. Where does that go in New York City? You know, you got the Avengers Tower there. Are we gonna get the Oscorp building eventually for Spider-Man? You know, like there's all these things we gotta figure out. But there was a bigger quote for this, Sean, wasn't there? Like, what else did he have to say about this simplified, streamlined universe?
I know, he was saying, bring some storylines to a close, those that started before Iron Man, including original X-Men characters, second to simultaneously set the stage for the future.
I mean,
Endgame was truly an end, and since then
those
we've
storylines
tried
to
and
a close,
experimented
though.
with many new things. Secret Wars is a
Yeah.
beginning. It will establish a streamlined Some things will be filler, but many things will be entirely new. Going back to what we mentioned earlier about attracting young people and connecting with a new generation of audiences, that's exactly what the next universe will be about. So
Sure. And this is the where he talked about he was in a meeting room planning out until 2042. So he's like, who knows? Will it be those movies? Will we even make it to 2042? Even Kevin Feige's kind of questioning if the MCU is going to go till 2042. But I was going to say though, John, like talking about the future of the MCU beyond Secret Wars, it's like he did admit that they experimented a lot, and obviously things have been up and down. So I guess there's some, humble pie there. But honestly, I think Doomsday is going to be a big barometer of how much interest the MCU can still draw, because not Spider-Man. People will always go see Spider-Man movies, whether they're MCU movies or not. I think Avengers Doomsday is the barometer of what people think about in terms of, the MCU. And if the Doomsday is any lesser than expected, because remember, John, the Force Awakens not Force Awakens, well, that also did make $1 billion, but the Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion, but we don't really talk about it like it's $1 billion movie today. So I'm saying, even if Doomsday makes $1 billion, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best Avengers of all time, and people will have to sit with that for a year until Secret Wars. So I am kind of worried that they don't have another movie to sort of like be a palate cleanser. Like, between the previous two, the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, you had Captain Marvel and you had the Ant-Man movie. So people got to kind of like see some other stuff before and then people really love both the Avengers films, so it worked out. But here, I think it's a little risky that they don't have anything coming out between this December and next December. So, but speaking of Hall H, John, what else did Kevin Feige have to say? He's previewed Comic-Con a little bit for us.
Yeah,
this is all part of the same interviews. Yeah.
So listen, you probably know as good a tease as I do in terms of the fact that when we go to Hall H, it's for a reason, and it's to have some surprises and show a few things. It's our home away from home Hall H, so I'm excited to be heading back. Asked about Black Panther 3, and he's maybe.
So he's not giving away any of his secrets. He's like, will we get a Black Panther 3 announcement? Will we announce the cast of X-Men? Maybe. You gotta find out. You gotta either show up in Hall H or like, I don't know, watch it on TV or whatever. Like we'll find out in a few days' time. But so not really giving anything away. I mean, look, I don't think they're doing a secret movie that comes out between Doomsday and Secret Wars. But if there's any place to announce one, it would be in a couple of days at Comic-Con. But John, there's also I don't know if you need to go through the whole thing. I don't know if you read this. I read the whole thing, and it kind of sounds real, because basically there's a description going around of what would be the second trailer of Avengers Doomsday. But you read it, it sounds like it could be real, but it could also be, just they based the information off the trailer that already came out, and then some of the stuff we already know about the movie. It looks like some of the same footage is going to get recycled. We're going to get extended looks at like the fight between apparently Sam Wilson's Captain America and Cyclops. We'll get to hear more about Doom talking to Steve Rogers and about like why he blames him for his wife and kid dying. And there's some images that have been going around today with like the X-Men sitting in the Baxter building, because apparently, John, this trailer description, which may be a spoiler or not, apparently the X-Men fight Doom not once but twice in this movie. The Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and after losing the first time around, they go and regroup in the Baxter building, and then they go back. And then of course we have had rumors for a long time now talking about how the TVA is going to get devastated in this movie, and maybe Loki will get killed again, this time by Doctor Doom. And you do get a hint of that in this description as well. They might not show it happening, but they will definitely hint at the bloody end to the TVA. So, I mean, John, your thoughts on all of that? I mean, this image seems to have been AI enhanced a little bit, but it does line up, I guess, with what we have seen so far. The X-Men going to the Fantastic Four universe, 2 fights with Doctor Doom, all of those things. Do you think that trailer description is real?
It definitely feels like it, because they bring because it's like it's new stuff, but it's also at the same time it has like stuff we've seen before, so that makes sense. Like obviously they're gonna show like some of the stuff we've already seen before, so the vibe is there, even if we don't whatever we get in the future, it's not gonna be exactly like that. So
Yeah, I was gonna
because I could see it, because like kind of like how the Spider-Man Brand New Day one was leaked, and we got a trailer that was similar, but it had some things cut or some things different.
But dude,
added other things.
They did so much different. This is the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because you see, Sony had that trailer leak, right? It was one of the test trailers, and then I remember talking about it. Like, and if I have a copy of that leaked trailer, you watch that and you watch the one we actually got, and there were 2 actually surprisingly different trailers, which lines up with one of the VFX guys that posted about it the day after that new trailer came out, the first official one for Spider-Man. And I remember then he took that whole thing down and his account went private, because clearly he got himself into some trouble at his job. But he had said that, when Sony saw that leak with like somebody filming it off their computer, they went and like had to do a bunch of these VFX shots that hadn't been completed yet, so they can put out a trailer that looked about as different as they possibly could make it from the leaked one. Now, I appreciate the effort that Sony put into that. Whereas I think with Avengers Doomsday, that Comic-Con trailer and the trailer we got just this week, there's only like one big difference, which is like the shot of Loki at Steve's house. And I'm like, where's the effort, Marvel Studios? Like, like everybody knows what you played at CinemaCon, because the descriptions have been leaking and everybody knew what that trailer was. Like, why? So I think if there's any reason why this second trailer description might be real, it's probably because they might already have that second trailer ready to go. I'm not saying they're going to put it out at Comic-Con this week because they just put out a trailer, but I wouldn't be surprised that we're not like weeks away. I don't know like why you would have that description leak and then put the trailer out 3 months later and then repeat the same problem of like, I thought this trailer is something we already saw, even though we never had seen it, but people knew about everything in that trailer from this week for months. I don't want that to happen again with the second trailer for Doomsday. So, but if that description is real, then, like, dude, just give us that trailer soon. There are rumors, by the way, that at Hall H this Saturday, they're going to maybe not give us a full trailer, but like a sizzle reel with maybe some behind the scenes stuff mixed in, kind of like Warner Brothers and DC Studios did, with James Gunn confirmed at Cine Europe, which is like the European version of CinemaCon that happened in Barcelona, and they played a sizzle reel for Man of Tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get like something like that, like a sizzle reel behind the scenes featurette, kind of like they did for HBO's The Penguin a few years ago when it was still kind of just finishing filming. So they did like a behind the scenes featurette with some stuff from the show, but like it was really not a trailer for the show. So it's something we have seen before, so I wouldn't be surprised that that's what we get this weekend, in addition to like all the other announcements that they might do or not do. So, yeah, but that's my speculation there. You guys take that or leave it, but let us know what you think about it. What are you expecting? Kevin Feige, giving up a few key details. 2042, they're looking out that far ahead. Multi-state saga. By the way, I don't give a shit like how much Kevin Feige loves the word saga. Like, just turn that shit sideways and shove it straight up your candy ass. Cause like, I'm tired of sagas. Like, everybody in Hollywood made it lame when we got the
Batman
Fast
epic
saga,
crime saga,
the epic
Dan.
crime saga, the Skywalker saga. It's like, you have no idea how frustrating it is, especially because it was never really like a thing that Marvel cared about. It was a marketing term that eventually became so important in the cultural zeitgeist that now Kevin Feige actually says it out loud. Like, fuck your saga. Just give us good fucking movies. Like,
That
don't
needs
give a
to
shit
be.
about sagas.
That's another T-shirt idea. Fuck your saga.
Yeah, fuck your saga. Like, I want that, like Stone Cold, like the fuck fear one with the back in the day, the skull. I want that design, but like fuck your saga on it. Yeah. If I
No, it would be funny if you can't do this, but it would be fuck your saga. But the first A in saga is like an asshole, and then the other two letters are spreading cheeks. Just like fuck your saga, right in the booty hole.
We're able to jump in your ass right in the crack. Anyway. A saga built around the comic book saga would be sick. You know what? Probably better than the current or whatever next saga.
I mean, I've heard. I have actually heard Saga is a very good comic series. So, anyway, speaking of sagas, we now have the Spider-Man saga, the fourth film in the Spider-Man.
You think I'm Scorpion? John, remember, this is the movie. You think I'm Scorpion? This is that movie.
Spider-Man brand new day director reveals reason for Sadie Sink's secrecy. Teases villain montage, Shang-Chi 2. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Spider-Man brand new day director Destin Daniel Cretton said he's aware that keeping the Stranger Things alum's character under wraps could upset fans, but stands by the decision. If people are going to get mad, I can't control that. I wish everything was a secret. Some people want to know everything, and some people don't. There are certain people like me. If I know I'm going to watch a movie, I try not to even watch the trailer. Well, you'll see when you watch the movie that there's a very real reason not to tell people who Sadie Sink is playing, and I don't think you'll get mad at it. I think you'll be like, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't know that." So
cool. I mean, but if she is Jean Grey, like, I don't know how much that changes our perception of the movie. But you know what, John? While Destin Daniel Cretton, of course, is like, I try to avoid even the trailers for a movie that I really care about.
That's fair.
We clearly are, not about that life, because Sadie Sink recently addressed who she will be playing in the movie. So let's hear what Sadie Sink had to say herself.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd it go?
Sink, and I play. Hi, my name is Sadie Sink, and I play. And I'm very excited, and it feels good to say that out loud.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
So great. Love it.
Well, you know what's interesting about that video, Dan?
Hey, my name is Sadie Sink,
in that video specifically,
Yeah.
she's wearing a gray shirt and a gray cardigan. Does that mean something, ladies and gents? I'm sure she's wearing jeans too. We see you, Marvel. We see you. We see you.
I love it when somebody's playing our favorite character. Spoiler, Spoiler is our favorite character. That's always great. Yeah. Finally, Tom Holland stopped the spoiler. Hey,
I bet she's wearing jeans. I bet she is.
What else would she be wearing, John? Like, what are you implying?
I don't know. Like maybe like khakis. Or a skirt. Okay. I don't fucking know her life.
Sure. By the way, the whole RDJ coming back as Iron Man rumor after Secret Wars. Yes, it is true that there is a rumor going around saying that Loki's gonna reset the universe in Secret Wars, and he's gonna bring Tony back to life, and then Tony's gonna get to retire with I Love You 3000 again.
So essentially undoing the big thing
this
that people really admired about the fucking Endgame. Like the one thing that mattered in that fucking movie, and now you're just like, oh no, that didn't fucking matter. Eat a dick. Bye-bye.
If you go back, by the way, if you go back to one of those Kevin Feige quotes about how the Robert Downey Jr., he's like, well, in Marvel, there's multiple ways that, we can bring people back. Like Kevin Feige is just owning it now. He's like, you know what? Nobody ever truly dies in the MCU. And
no one ever truly dies. Now they're bringing the fucking Disney fucking Star Wars ideology up in this bitch. Gross.
Somehow.
Totally anyway. So he was talking about that. He also said he would love to see Shang-Chi too. I was talking to Dave Callahan, our writer, about it just a few weeks ago. So fingers crossed. Here's the thing. Destin Daniel Cretton, buddy, this shit's gonna fucking make $1 billion. It's probably gonna make $2 billion. Yeah. You are going to have Cate Blanchett with anything you fucking... Kevin Feige will be literally on his knees for Destin Daniel Cretton and the Russo brothers after collectively those three motherfuckers are going to make him $4 billion in one fucking year. So that Kevin Feige will be like, yes, master, I will do anything. Guac, guac, guac. So Cretton, my boy, you're going to get Shang-Chi 2. You're going to get Wonder Man seasons 2 through 4. You're probably going to get the next Spider-Man movie. You might even get the next fucking Avengers movie if you want. This man literally will be able to do fucking anything. Like,
because
come on,
think about it. So basically, to kind of again provide context of what Destin Daniel Cretton basically said that he's and in another recent interview he mentioned that he's already got work started with the writer's room for Wonder Man season 2, which we know is coming soon. They already greenlit it, so they'll probably be in pre-production if they aren't already. And then now he has said that the writer of the first Shang-Chi movie, he just spoke to him recently, implying that they're already starting to write, if they haven't begun the process a while ago at this point, for a Shang-Chi 2, which, dude, it's like Shang-Chi went missing for 5 years and he's going to show up in Doomsday, but he should have had at least the second movie by now. They could have even done a whole trilogy of those films by now, because the first one came out it's Shang-Chi. Nobody talks about it, but remember, by the time Shang-Chi comes out, there would have been a bigger gap probably between the first and the second Shang-Chi than the Batman and Batman Part 2. So I'm glad that Destin Daniel Cretton is doing all of these. Like, he's doing Wonder Man. He said he would like to direct Wonder Man episodes again for season 2. And then, of course, I can't wait for him I want him to direct Shang-Chi 2. I don't want him to pass it off because he's doing Spider-Man. Like, he is the new Marvel golden boy. I think he is the closest thing that Kevin Feige has had to a James Gunn since James Gunn left Marvel. So give the man Wonder Man season 2, give the man Spider-Man 5 with Tom Holland, give him Shang-Chi 2, and then let him do the next Avengers movie as well while you're at it. Because he was gonna do, was it Secret Wars?
It'll be like, be like Kevin Feige will be like, you know what? You can have it. You can have Spider-Man 5. You can have Shang-Chi 2. You can have Wonder Man, however many seasons you want. Here's Avengers. Take the keys to my car. Have my wife. Here, have my ass. And then bends over. You know what? Take my job. It's like goes full on, just batshit insane. It's like, you know what? Destin, have whatever you want. Have your way with me and my wife. It's fine.
I don't think Destin is into that kind of thing, but I guess we'll find out. But I'm excited for Destin Daniel Cretton because look, here's the thing. By the way, hello Patrick. The one thing that I've noticed about his projects in the MCU, he doesn't seem to cut corners, and he's somebody who's a natural fit for the superhero movie genre because his understanding and nuance with how to do great action cinema is exactly what the Marvel Cinematic Universe had been missing. So I think I definitely think that, you know, he's the right guy to like have this many avenues open creatively between Wonder Man, Spider-Man, and Shang-Chi. I mean, I wish he did Avengers Secret Wars. I don't know if the Russo brothers will do any better than he could have, but maybe down the road, the next Avengers movie could be by Destin Daniel Cretton, if he is, you know, free enough to do that. Because, like,
yeah,
I'm guessing Wonder Man will take a little while, and then the next Spider-Man movie will take a little while, and the Shang-Chi 2 will take a little while. Even if it takes a little longer, considering how long we've had to wait, I'd rather have a Destin Daniel Cretton directed Shang-Chi 2 than somebody else brought in and he just produces. That's my opinion, but let's keep going on.
And then for our last bit of Spider-Man news, apparently there's a rumor that reveals insane Peter Parker twist.
Okay, so I'm just gonna TLDR it. We don't need to mumble.
I'm just gonna show off if people want.
It's just, you know. It's basically all it is this. There's a rumor going around. It comes from 4chan, and all it is they're saying, like, unlike what they were doing before with Miss Marvel, which I think they're still gonna have Miss Marvel around. Remember at the end of Miss Marvel season 1, they revealed, or the only season so far, that she's a mutant. We heard the little X-Men music. So apparently they're saying in Spider-Man Brand New Day, Spider-Man is going to get classified as a mutant, which then further explains what the hell is Jean Grey doing in the movie, because they're going to use Spider-Man to bridge the divide between the current era,
which is kind of dumb, but you know.
Era. So I mean, I think they're also going to, if you believe the rumor from 4chan, take it with a grain of salt. Apparently, they're going to try to tie it into the whole, he's, you know, his second mutation that's happening now with his, like, you know, organic webs and all that is because his X gene, his mutant genes got triggered. And, like, you know, they're going to talk about how that happened with Kamala Khan because of the bangles and, like, you know, other characters. But, which, to be fair, there is that shot of, like, the scan of Peter's body that I think Dr. Banner or whoever does it in the movie, like, it would make sense, right? Like, it's like, okay, so he's a mutant as well. And it's interesting. That's not the worst thing ever to me, because Spider-Man is going to be a part of the next, you know, era of the MCU. So I don't think that's anything that I'm too worried about. If anything, I'm like, okay, so yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, he would also be considered a mutant. It's like, you know, in the DC universe, they're all considered metahumans if you got powers. So why not, you know? But yeah, on that note, I think we're gonna move on from MCU Weekly and Spider-Man stuff. Let's talk about the business of Hollywood, John. Well, you take a, you know, short nap. So was it yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, we talked about that the Cinerama Dome and the old, you know, Pacific Theater ArcLight location that's right next to the Cinerama, they've been closed now since the pandemic, and the company that owned it went bankrupt for a while, but now Sony has finally closed the deal. They've got a lease. They're going to renovate what's going to be, you know, once again known as the Cinerama Dome. And then next to the Cinerama Dome, what used to be an ArcLight cinema location is now going to be run by Sony's Alamo Drafthouse, which, if you guys remember, Sony bought Alamo Drafthouse last year. So Alamo Drafthouse is part of Sony, and so they're going to have them take over and run what used to be called the ArcLight cinema location next to Cinerama Dome. And the Cinerama Dome is going to be back. It's going to get renovated. It's got 35 and 70 millimeter projections capabilities. So I'm sure Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino are going to be happy about that. It is considered like a historical monument in LA. There have been like rallies about bringing this thing back to life. And so finally, good on you, Sony, for making this happen. It's an iconic, you know, theater. I'm so glad that they're back. They're not going to, you know, have the signature dining experience for Alamo Drafthouse or the Cinerama, but they might do that for the, you know, the what used to be ArcLight next to Cinerama. So yeah, it's been a while, and the Sony Motion Picture Group president, Tom Rothman, said, "Hot damn. We're bringing the dome back, baby. We believe in movie going down to our soul, and no venue on earth stands more for that than the one-of-a-kind dome. I am deeply proud that Sony is investing in Hollywood. Literally, the dome has hosted generations of unforgettable movie moments. Our goal is to preserve the legendary history while ensuring it remains vibrant now and far into the future." So it's been shuttered since 2021, but the Cinerama Theater is back. Sony got a new lease. They're going to renovate the place. There's going to be new Alamo Drafthouse there. I think this is fantastic. If you go to LA and you were a big movie fan, this is one of those iconic theaters you have to go see. It's just, again, it's the only concrete geodesic dome in the Western Hemisphere or something like that. Like, it's an architectural monument. It's also a historical monument, and now there will once again be movies playing at the Cinerama. And you know what? Again, kudos to Sony for doing this. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Tom Rothman was a big supporter of the Cinerama for premieres and festivals back when he was the co-CEO or the co-chairman of 20th Century Studios before, Fox sold it off, and like now he's, in charge of Sony Pictures. But yeah, I think Sony doing this is great. And you guys let us know what you think about it. If you're certainly from the LA area, I'm sure you're excited to go see, all these movies that will hopefully be returning to the Cinerama once it opens in early 2028. So the Cinerama is back. All right. Now, John, we move on to the next one.
Oh,
Sorry,
boy.
I keep hitting
the Chode with Lips returns. But I thought this was already a thing. I thought the EU already gave it the green light.
Right. So basically they hadn't. Okay, so this is what happened. So today, the European regulator finally officially greenlit the takeover from Warner Brothers that Paramount is doing. So they hadn't done it yet. They had basically, it was about as much as done as it could be. It just hadn't been completed. So they had said you have to get out of the Universal International Pictures cross, like the distribution deal that they had with Universal. So Paramount and Universal kind of unwound that. That was the only thing they had to do as a condition of approval. So the European regulators have now approved the merger. So one less regulator for them to get that from. On the flip side, John, the 12 state attorneys that have filed a lawsuit against Paramount, they did, remember, get that temporary restraining order, the TRO. Now they have until tomorrow, or actually no, until today. It was until today they had to file a motion for an injunction on the merger. Now the injunction is basically going to make it so that the merger does not go through until the case is either going to trial or it's settled, somewhere before you go to trial. So that's the big one. If you can get an injunction, a preliminary injunction, that means until the case is done, the litigation is done, whether it goes to trial or not, the merger can't happen. Today was the deadline for the state attorneys to submit this, the motion for the injunction, and then after that, I think Paramount has until next Friday to respond, and then the states can respond to that until the following Friday. They do have a hearing set with the judge on August 3rd. So that's a couple of weeks, a little more than a couple of weeks away, or just about a couple of weeks away, when by August 3rd, the judge is gonna make a decision whether they're gonna grant that injunction. And that's gonna be the big one, because remember, John, not only is it this case that's going on right now, while the state attorneys, just submitted their, or will be submitting this week their, motion to file for an injunction. If you go to the next article, the WGA, the writers, they already submitted the same thing. They want to get a preliminary injunction. Now, their case is more about the labor side of things, because they're saying the merger is going to create fewer jobs for writers. It's going to drive down pay. It's going to put too much power, under just one company, like up to 35% of the anticipated top grossing blockbusters market, basically big studio movies. So they already submitted their motion. So they're saying either grant the preliminary injunction, or you need to make sure that we have an expedited schedule so we can stay in line with the state attorney general's case. Why that matters is because what you don't want to have happen is one case affecting the other, because one case gets litigated and crosses the finish line, and whatever precedent it sets, like for example, if the state attorney's general case gets settled or doesn't go in the favor of the attorney generals, then that could set a precedent which will then basically make the WGA case null and void. So both of these cases are ongoing. Now remember, the one key thing I just want to point out, the last thing that makes all of this make sense. I mentioned yesterday they were talking about in any antitrust case, what you don't want to have happen is the merger of two set companies actually go through and close, and then the litigation, the court case tries to unwind it, because then it gets complicated. You already have two companies that are sort of becoming one. How do you split them back up to become two separate companies? Because people will end up on each other's, their company boards, and they'll let go of people. The job losses will happen. The efficiencies that will be realized. It becomes really difficult to undo a merger if a court case goes, in favor of the plaintiff now, which is the writers and the state attorneys. There's an example of that, because if you go to the next one, John, Nexstar. Remember Nexstar bought Tegna? So in April, they had a lawsuit hit them for antitrust purposes, and in that antitrust case, the judge did give an injunction. Basically, the Nexstar Tegna lawsuit has made it so that they're not officially like done becoming one company yet. What's happened is they did close the deal after, literally, because the Department of Justice cleared it, and they closed the deal a day after the lawsuit was filed. But then the injunction paused it. But the problem it created is now Nexstar, CEO and other people from the Nexstar leadership team are on the Tegna board approving Tegna budgets, and obviously they know private information that's competitors' information for Tegna. So that's creating this issue where you can't, if you're going to operate as two separate entities, it's creating that problem where the merger already closed, and now it's going to be very hard, even if this lawsuit goes in favor of the people that are suing for on the antitrust case reasons. So that's an example of things get messy if you don't get the injunction and Paramount Warner Brothers do merge, and then after that you try to undo it. So what they're trying to do, the writers and the state attorneys now, they're trying to make it so that Paramount and Warner Brothers don't go through and close the merger by September 30th. They want to pause that until the cases are done, and then they're hoping to win the cases. So we'll follow this, see how it goes. Obviously, I think it's significant in the sense that if the injunctions are granted, which it looks like by early August, both of the cases we'll hear about. If that happens, then that freezes this for a while, and that will have a significant effect, because John, if this goes to trial, it might go for a couple of years, and if that happens, then all of a sudden Casey Bloys, the head of HBO, James Gunn, Peter Safran, the co-CEOs of DC Studios, as well as many other people whose contracts are up early, I think springtime, summertime next year, those contracts, when they come up for renewal, David Zaslav, who's currently just getting ready to just be on vacation after September, he might be the one that will have to provide those, renewal decisions rather than David Ellison. So it does make a difference for like DC, for HBO, for everything. So it's a big deal, and also for Paramount's side, like they'll be kind of hanging in the balance as well. So I guess we'll see if this works out or not. But there's your business update, business of Hollywood. Move on.
There we go. First things first, the end of Oak Street. Dinosaurs attack in thrilling new trailer as tickets go on sale. Cool. I'm kind of getting more and more excited about this, even though I wasn't really excited before, and I do hate J.J. Abrams, but this might be like an actually good dinosaur movie, guys.
Dude, I saw the trailer. By the way, the dinosaurs look more accurate to how we know they actually were, rather than the Jurassic Park version of dinosaurs. But at the same time, I'm like, did they already kill off Ewan McGregor in the trailer? Like, did you see the end of the second trailer that just came out?
No, I didn't, so thanks for spoiling that.
Sorry. Well, they didn't really kill him, but like he does get, dragged out by his foot. So I'm like, I don't know if Ewan is going to be long for this world in the movie.
Hey, we thought Glenn was dead on Walking Dead, and he survived before, Negan killed him. But, that's beside the point. But, well, he went under the dumpster, and we all thought he was dead, and then it turned out he wasn't dead. So maybe that's a bait and switch. We'll see. But yeah, this looks cool. Yeah. Apparently, Days of Thunder 2, Jonathan Levine in talks to direct Tom Cruise and Paramount's racing sequel. Who?
I don't know Jonathan Levine all that well. I think if you go in this article, they talk about what else he's done recently. But yeah, I mean, Jeff what's the guy? The Jeff he
he did he's actually done some good movies. He did 50-50, he did All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, he did Warm Bodies. All right, I trust him.
Yeah. By the way, Jeff Foxworthy talked about like a year ago that Tom Cruise had told him they're doing a Days of Thunder 2. So this has been in the works for a while, and looks like now they made it official. Paramount will be making not a Top Gun sequel. They are making a Top Gun sequel, but they are making a Days of Thunder sequel. I wonder, John, if this is going to have any kind of crossover with the Thunder Road TV show that they're working on for Paramount Plus. Because Days of Thunder, Thunder Road, they're both about NASCAR.
And one's got Tom
Cruise,
and one, and they both,
Dennis Quaid.
Days of Thunder and Thunder Road have Michael Rooker in it, so
that's true. Yeah, he is in both. Actually, well, yes, you're right. So that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. Days of Thunder.
So I trust him. I think he'll do a good job. Yeah. Maybe not Joseph Kosinski levels of good, but I trust him. Speaking of trusting, Sony Pictures circling Ridley Scott's Treasure Island package starring Hugh Jackman. Give it to me yesterday.
So this is actually now official. Ridley Scott and Hugh Jackman are working with Sony Pictures on this Treasure Island.
We need Hugh Jackman as a good pirate. After that god awful Pan movie where he's Blackbeard or whatever the fuck, he needs to be a good pirate.
He's gonna play Long John Silver in the movie. That's what we know. He's playing Long John Silver.
We're good.
And
gonna
John,
watch.
Remember, they did that animated one like in the early 2000s, right? There was a Treasure Island movie that's already come out.
Well, there's Treasure Planet. That was like the steampunk sci-fi.
It was like space-based, but it was basically the same story, but in space. I think the idea was. Now the thing
Treasure
is,
Planet in space or Treasure Island in space.
Ridley Scott's company, Scott Free Production or whatever it's called, Scott Free something. They have a deal.
Scott Free Productions.
Scott Free Productions. They have a first look deal with 20th Century because, of course, 20th Century Fox is where he made a lot of his movies, like The Martian and stuff. But what happened was this. I found this interesting. Alien. Ridley Scott did pitch this to 20th Century Studios. But get this, it wasn't that they didn't want to work with Ridley Scott again, but 20th Century had to pass on Treasure Island because they are a Disney division now. And the live action priority right now for Disney is the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And they did not want to have a competing Pirates
I was going to say, they're finally
So-
remaking Treasure Planet. No, we're just getting more Pirates crap without Johnny Depp.
So
who gives
which
a
I
fuck?
thought was a very interestingly stupid reason, because I'm like, okay, because you didn't want to do this because you didn't want to have two movies in the same genre competing with the
Hey. Now, Hook might not be the worst Peter Pan movie, but it does fucking suck. So, there is that. But I'll watch the shit out of this. I know a lot of people don't like Ridley Scott and all that, but Dog Stars looks good. Hugh Jackman, yeah, he's a cheating piece of shit, but he's Wolverine, so it's fine. Here's the thing, at this point in Hollywood, the bar is so fucking low that it's like, oh, he just cheated on his wife with an adult, right? Okay, that's fine. It's just like, oh, okay, he cheated, but hey, at least it wasn't with a kid, right? So Hugh Jackman's fine, Ridley Scott's fine. I'll watch the shit out of this.
Yeah. No, I mean, also Tom Rothman is a big Ridley Scott fan, who's now running Sony.
I mean,
so
I was gonna say who's not, but there are a lot of people that don't like Ridley Scott. So. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and you fucking also hate good movies, Caleb. So I don't really trust your taste. Anyway, Benicio del Toro to star in Ben Stiller, Mike Judge comedy series Protective Custody at Apple TV. Not a sentence I thought I would see ever. But Benicio del Toro, he's I mean, he was in One Battle After Another, and that was kind of comedy-esque a little bit. Mm-hmm. But Mike Judge and Ben Stiller, that's definitely a pretty damn good combination. But I didn't think, Benicio del Toro, he does kind of have a bit of class to him. He's in a lot of highbrow projects, so him being in something just, Mike Judge related is definitely interesting.
You know what it is? If you saw what was the movie that he won or was nominated for last year with won the Best Picture? Why am I forgetting right now? But DiCaprio, he just did that. He was
One Battle After Another.
One battle. It's right there.
It.
One Battle After. Sorry, I'm having a day. So, dude, since One Battle After Another, I think Benicio del Toro is in his cool uncle era. So I think this would be perfect for that. This is the perfect idea. Ben Stiller's in the show. Mike Judge, perfect. can't wait.
Yeah.
Apple TV.
Yeah.
Apple TV.
Speaking, and then going from good to not so good, we have Glenn Powell and Richard Linklater to reunite for Lou Gehrig film at Universal, and Lorne Michaels to produce. Now, Benicio del Toro, Ben Stiller, and Mike Judge, that's a weird combination, but I think a very good combination. Glenn Powell, Richard Linklater, and Lorne Michaels is a weird combination, but not good. So, I don't know. When I saw Glenn Powell is playing Lou Gehrig, I'm like, no. Well, I love Glenn Powell. He is great. He needs a hit yesterday. I get it. But, like, just watch Pride of the Yankees. Why are we... You had Gary Cooper fucking playing Lou Gehrig. Why are we even trying anymore? Who cares? I like two of these people. I don't really care about SNL all that much. But, like, it's just weird to me that this is now going to exist.
I mean, look, the guys behind the movie, the producers, are big fans of the Yankees. So I'm sure they're going to, honor the legacy of Lou Gehrig. I mean, also, ALS named after Lou Gehrig's disease, which, took his life in the early 37 years of age. So I don't know if this is going to be a full-on biopic from the moment he got fame, fell in love with baseball to when he passed away, unfortunately, in 1941, or if it's just gonna be a part of his life. But that's Glenn Powell doing a biopic. Sounds cool.
Sure. Christopher Nolan compares AI to a glass Trojan horse. Everybody knows the Greeks are inside, but we continue to use it anyway.
If you go down, read the quote. This is great. I love it. Nolan is, again, just the GOAT.
I think AI is a Trojan horse that everybody knows the Greeks are inside. It's a transparent horse. It's made of glass. Everybody can see what's going on inside of there. I have never seen a technology advancing so rapidly, so completely rejected by the public. Everybody's suspicion of it is so extreme, particularly young people. The reaction to AI videos online and people my children's age immediately calling it AI slop. Just hearing that from Nolan's voice is just music to the ears. And coining that term and just putting it in a box, which I think is a very healthy skepticism, because technology is always going to give us great gifts, as you say, but it has to be viewed with skepticism.
Dude,
but imagine saying that with Nolan's classy British voice that sound where he sounds like
way
a
better.
billion trillion times intelligent than I'll ever fucking be in my lifetime. So
but calling AI a transparent Greek horse is like just about the most high fluent insult you can toss at AI.
It's the politest way of saying fuck you and fuck AI.
Yeah. Everybody knows what's going on. And
can you imagine if Christopher Nolan didn't have that? I don't know where he's from specifically, but he didn't have that type of British accent. He had more of a classless British accent where he's and he sounds whatever the South version of a British accent is
he's
this fucking glass
Westminster.
Trojan horse.
So,
Well, that's more Brooklyn, but
well, yeah, he's from Westminster, so he's got the Queen of the King's English.
He's got that classiness. Yeah, he at least he isn't George Lucasing it. That is true. Yeah. Fuck George Lucas. But are we really shocked? That man shot 3 movies entirely on a green screen. So frankly, George Lucas can kick rocks.
Well, he's always been technology forward.
Yeah.
So.
Michael J. Fox, getting back to acting really prolonged my life. Speaking of, diseases, I guess, going from ALS to Parkinson's, 35 years after his diagnosis, the Hollywood icon and his foundation are fighting harder than ever to find a cure for Parkinson's. But with a return to shrinking confirmed, he's not giving up his day job anytime soon.
I love it. It's like food for the soul. The man loves acting, and getting back to
Michael
acting,
J. Fox is one of the goats.
Yeah. Hey, Manos time. I mean, he's back for Shrinking. Again
no, his name's Michael, not Chad. Difference.
And he's nominated for an Emmy this year for Shrinking. I can't wait to see if he wins or not. It's just, again, I mean, since 1991, there will come a day when, hopefully we'll have a, cure or treatment for Parkinson's, and I hope Michael J. Fox is around to take advantage of it, because he's certainly put in a lot of work over the years to help fight the disease. And he brings a lot of hope to people who are fighting with it when he's back to acting. It's great.
Yeah.
Love everything about him in Shrinking is fantastic.
every time he's on screen with Harrison Ford, gold, pure gold. So.
Fuck cancer. Anyway, fuck Parkinson's. But next up, oh god, Stewie voice cast Zach Keenan Thompson, Vanessa Bayer, Melissa O'Neill, Mike Henry, and more. Joins Seth MacFarlane in Family Guy spinoff. Why do we care? Why do we
remember Melissa
fucking
O'Neill
care?
was in that sci-fi show Dark Matter, and I feel like I recognize some of these other faces. Well, obviously you got.
I know Keenan Thompson,
himself.
obviously. Fucking one of the SNL.
Oh, you know,
tropes.
we all know Seth MacFarlane. Anyway, cool. I'm not gonna be watching
Great,
this, but
don't
I'm
care.
sure people are
Looks like
excited.
shit. Anyway, Jesus. Watch Jesus rappel down a cliff in the TV crossover event of the summer. The Chosen X Bear Grylls.
No, dude, there's no word yet on how he traverses the Colorado River, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe he will part the waters. This is the best headline on Quick Hits today, so just, take it in.
Hey,
This is
hey,
great.
Lois. Hey, remember that time Family Guy was funny? I don't. Okay, the first 3 seasons were kind of funny, but like everything after that was like, eh.
Dude, Jesus times Bear Grylls, this is the crossover we never knew we needed. But I guess we're getting it. So
Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze surf back into theaters for Point Break's 35th anniversary. Well, this is your fucking
ironically-
wake-up call, man. I am an FBI agent.
Ironically, the same year and the same month as they're doing the 25th anniversary of the Fast and the Furious movie,
which was a
you don't
rip-off.
know.
Brother never told you never threaten a man's family.
Right, but you were saying,
rip-off of
yeah.
Point Break, good times had
Pretty
by
much.
all, but I'd watch it because I haven't seen it, so it's a good way for me to see the film finally.
I forgot that Cops had a crossover with the X-Files. Holy shit.
When
It's
the
like
fuck
internet.
was that?
I don't know.
What the fuck? I thought like
Bad boys,
fucking
bad boys.
X-Files ended before Cops became a thing.
Well, no, because Cops has been around since the 90s. They must have been
Really?
over. Anyway,
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, because like one of them is a scripted show and the other ones are like realities show.
Anyway, your boy Matt Damon was talking about his biceps, but he's like, hey, I had my biceps for the majority of the movie. Well, unless we're talking about my stunt woman who was against the Giants in the movie to make the
She had the
you know, the
greatest
size
arms
difference.
I've ever seen. He said.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
By the way, this is clever. So basically, they brought in a bunch of stunt men and stunt women who were like 5 feet tall, because again, from the back, you can't tell if it's a stunt person or Matt Damon in the costume. So they shot it this way in the movie, and then the big giants were like actual 7 foot tall actors. If you scroll on this, you could see the two of them side by side. It's still a bit of an illusion to the camera because they obviously exaggerated in the movie. But you could see how they might have done it with forced perspective shots, because if you see that cast photo, you've got the 5 foot, stuntmen and then the 7 foot stuntmen. And again, the commitment to doing it all practically.
We even have a short king right here.
So
gotta love it.
Yeah, it's great to see, because I was like, it does look a little weird, like the because it's not perfect, the illusion, but you get pretty close. So, and with forced perspective, like they could have been a lot farther away from each other, and then when you shoot it with a telephoto lens, it looks like Matt Damon is standing just a couple of feet away from the Giants. So, and obviously the camera moves a lot, so they use probably multiple tricks, and the trees are moving around, which definitely was CGI, but I appreciate the commitment to doing it as practically as they could. Yeah, the greatest arms of all time. That stunt.
Well, going from the greatest arms to the greatest film we've gotten so far this year, and that is Project Hail Mary. Yeah, I said it. Yeah. What are you gonna say? But we're talking about they're talking about this certain script scene where where Ryland was like, I've made peace with dying, and then like later on in the movie where he was like, no, I haven't made peace. That was just something I said. No, I'm very afraid.
Like, I meant none of that. That's just something people say. It's just, by the way, you read the script that they show right here side by side with the actual scene, and you could tell that they, the improvisation that the Lord and Miller talked about in the movie, they simplified so much of the dialogue, and I thought it was way more effective. It's way more emotional, and it somehow conveys all the same information without going too deep into like the tech. Because the book, the script actually based on the book, the dialogue is a little more like heady. Like it's for like it's great for nerds, but like the way they play it here with the chemistry between Rocky and Grace, and why am I forgetting his name? Who the person who voices Rocky?
James Ortiz.
James Ortiz and Ryan Gosling. I mean, obviously had a great chemistry on set, and they play it way better than it's even written in the script. And there's a lot less that they say, and it's just, you could tell it works instantly, and you get the message, and it's more emotionally resonant than what you read in the script, which again goes to show you the script is only the blueprint. Once you make the movie, there's still a lot of room for you to like find what works and what doesn't. So I love these kind of like, you know, side-by-side comparisons. Yeah. Well, Caleb, I'm sure your grass needs some watering, so why don't you go and do that while we transition out of DCU, well, Also Curious news to DCU Daily. We got some Clayface stuff to talk about, don't we? Let's do that. Yeah. Let's get blessed.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Honka honka.
Hello. How are we? I'm doing well, and I'm your host, John. Lovely to see you.
Cool. I lost track of my mouse. I found him. He was hiding in Caleb's grass. But hey, let's talk about DC. We got some stuff to get into. I'll come up with plenty of insults, Caleb. If I had more energy today, I would probably dunk on you so hard the basketball will misshape in your head like Cersei did to all those guys in the movie.
I thought you were gonna say you would dunk on him so hard it would break the backboard. That was way better. I'm sorry, Dan. Honestly, I gotta agree with Caleb. Stop trying to say insults. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm too tired to be insulting people. Caleb can just do that work for himself. Let's talk about lanterns.
Here it is at San Diego Comic-Con. They're setting up for ads, and it looks quite all right. There's green.
I see the green. I definitely see the green. A mid-season awards list? What do you mean mid-season awards list? Okay, Caleb.
I think what he means, like, if we're basing it off of half of the year, what would we rank like best picture, best actor?
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. We should do that. I think we'll work on that. Not this week because there's a lot of Comic-Con stuff we're gonna get. Maybe next week we'll do that. So I'm looking forward to the show. I know John's a little concerned, but if you happen to be riding the train,
well, if you're concerned,
if you're riding the rails in Vegas like Caleb probably did at once upon a time, you probably went by this banner, this lovely banner on the side of the train tracks.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
let's hope it gets hit. But
you mean let's hope the show is a hit?
No, I hope the ad gets hit by a train.
The train
I hope Tom King gets hit by a train. That would be fun.
Dude, I wouldn't want that. That would mean the train has gotten derailed, and that obviously is not a good sign. But hey, that might be the state of the DCU, or it was until today.
Yeah,
right, John.
Yeah, definitely, because it's just like it's. You know what I feel like? I feel like it's that scene in the first Avengers movie where it's like Loki's like, we have money, we have cameos, and then Tony Stark is just like, as DC, we're like, we have Mike Flanagan, we have cinema.
Well, also
because
they have
Clayface
James Watkins who directed the movie.
It's written by Mike Flanagan, so that's more than
also Hussein
Marvel
Amini who did a lot of the rewrites. But yes. I'm just saying it wasn't only Mike Flanagan.
But yes, I am sure that this is clearly a reference to Pennywise, like obviously the smile and how it goes through his eye, very Pennywise here. But yeah.
I'm just going to quickly give my thoughts before, and I know you're probably going to want to say a lot more than I do. This trailer obviously has some the same footage from the previous trailer, but it is a superior trailer to what we have seen so far. And I thought what we got before was fantastic. Like the body transformations in this trailer, you get to see more of Naomi Aki's character, more of the story, basically kind of again the premise of it, like how Matt Hagen gets himself into trouble and gets all cut up in the face, and then kind of rushing Hello Jail into like finding a solution. Naomi Aki's character is like, look, I don't think this is like, it's not plastic surgery, but it's really experimental, and obviously he takes the risk. And dude, we finally get a shot, which is I guess the best way to describe it would be like a dirty over the shoulder of the Clayface monstrosity transformation. And while the VFX looked a little unfinished in that, I will say I am so glad this movie's coming out in October, and it's genuinely going to be probably the most refreshing superhero movie of the year, which quite honestly, for the most part, doesn't even feel like a superhero movie. And there's a couple of Easter eggs we'll get into later. I thought this trailer, for me, was a good 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, because I just wanted to see the monster himself, but I don't think they're going to give it away till the movie comes out. Hello, Chuck Rod. But like Chuck said, I think this trailer was fire. John, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Like, I feel like there were some weird editing choices in the trailer. Felt a little wonky, but outside of that, it looks damn good. I really like Tom Rhys-Harris. He definitely has the vibe of like tortured soul, and I really like that. Also very much they called it, or I called it, in terms of like he put in his dick where it don't belong, and that's why he gets cut up. Very obvious, predictable kind of plot, but I don't mind it. I think
Well,
it
we
looks
talked about it
good.
yesterday. That's now it's public
Yeah.
because it's part of the That's
I haven't seen anyone really hate on this trailer. The only ones that are like, oh, because I can see why. Like, there's good reasons as to why. It. I just think, like, with the Sony verse movies, with like, you got fucking Morbius and Madam Web and Venom and all that shit. I get it. But like, this seems like a very good story. At least it's like actually connected to Batman and not just like Venom with no Spider-Man at all. Like, at least we know Batman is like in this universe. We just haven't seen him yet. So, I think like the vibe is good. The cinematography, like, it's just so funny, like going back and forth between like Doomsday, where it looks so fucking shitty, and then this cinematography looks like it has like a clear identity to it all, as Caleb was saying, like it has like a good vibe to it. Um, and I really like that a lot. I like the vibe of this. It's not just like, oh, it's a horror movie, it's body horror, but like it looks like they're really utilizing like that sort of thing. And as James Gunn said, it's not gonna like tiptoe around it. We're gonna show shit. It's rated R. It's a horror movie. It's not gonna like it's gonna show the shit. And it shows the rawness of it all, like just like kind of being stripped away of everything and then trying to get that back in any feasible way. I think like, they definitely picked a guy who has like kind of a pretty boy face, but I've only seen Tom Rhys-Harris in Doctor Who. He played Ricky September in Dot and Bubble. I think he did a very good job there. So it's really, it's like the idea of like, oh, I like how the movies this year were played by like two people that were known for a popular TV show and now are getting like a jump to stardom. I think that's really cool. And I think I really liked, the struggle that he has and how Harry's is like kind of delivering that. It's really cool. I really liked this. I think I love the first trailer more because it's more mysterious and they don't really go into like they show more, and I like that. Like, it's good, but I like the mysterious of it more. And I think the song is not as well utilized as it is in the first trailer. Like, it's just the song, and then it's just like these flashes of like horror, and then it's like this pump up, and then bam, it's Clayface. This is just like, I feel like they kind of forced the song into it. but like I still think it's well utilized with how they ramp it up towards the end of the trailer. Yes, season he was in series 14. He was in Shooty first season. He was the character of Ricky September. He was like this sort of like popular influencer type on this like alien world, and then it's revealed that he's actually a very like kind like intellectual who like knows of the ongoing threat, and then he's like sacrificed and by this like very vapid unintelligent person. And I think he did a good job there. He did, like, justice #justice for Ricky September. But yeah, I think he's doing a really good job here. It definitely got the creepy vibes. Now, it doesn't go like super far into it. It still has that mainstream kind of feel to it, but it still works, and I really like that. Yeah, looking good. I'm stoked for it. I can't wait to see this and Wildwood back to back. So yeah, I'm stoked. I'm super super excited for it.
I wanted to say one quick thing to the comment. Let's see. Jalen brought up that he saw somebody online said it reminded them, the trailer for Clayface reminded them of Morbius and Venom somehow. I will say there was 1 or 2 moments in this trailer where I felt like watching the first trailer for Morbius had some similarities because the story kind of plays similar in some ways, like the plot beats. I was like, am I the only one? And I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm saying that's probably very purely superficial, because as much as we know about this movie, they've got much better people working on it, and certainly like an original script from Mike Flanagan and Tom Rhys Harris. It's just, I don't think it's gonna turn out like Morbius, and I think the first Venom made $800 million. If this movie makes $800 million, I think DC will be laughing its way to the bank. Just can't wait to do a sequel at that point. But there were a couple of moments in this trailer where I was like, it kind of feels like that first Morbius trailer, but probably a very superficial comparison. The movie just
well, it's just like it's better. The idea of like a villain being the protagonist, like that's because the thing is and the thing is like Clayface and Venom kind of have like a similar kind of vibe. Both are made of goop. One is just alien goop, and one is clay-like fleshy goop, but they are both goop. Gwyneth Paltrow would be very, very happy about it, but it's
can't wait for the WB partner collaboration there.
But yeah, it has color.
Yeah,
definitely a lot of color there. There was a shot where there was green, and I'm like, oh, that's more green than the Green Lanterns trailer. So, but yeah, I'm liking this. Naomi Ackie, I think is a very, very good actress, and I think I would love to. I would love to see her more stuff, because I know Mickey 17 didn't hit as well, but she's still in the house of WB, so I hope she has more hits. But yeah, this looks great. I'm 10 out of 10. Absolute
Fantastic.
Cinema.
It is
absolutely. Like I'm super, super, super stoked for it, because I know a lot of people are kind of upset about the state that DC is in. I made a meme of it earlier today. Because we got a lot of bad news.
Like, how's DC doing? Superman bombed. Lanterns is being made by Tom King, and he kills off Hal after episode 1. Batman 2 got delayed again, but we got Kick-Ass, Nightfall, and Clayface trailers. Nice. Yeah, it's great.
Also, it's Supergirl, not Superman. Superman didn't bomb.
Sorry, I misread that. Anyway, oh, you get the point.
But I got the
man. I was trying
van.
to do my Luis I got the win.
I will say, Michael Pena. Those movies might have been garbage, but he was not garbage in them.
Those movies were good because of Michael Pena and the crew. Where'd you go, bro? Oh, we're professionals. We got this. Like, it's like, it's like
David Dastmalchian and Michael Pena and the other guy. I think there was one more of them. But yeah.
It was wasn't it? Not T-Pain. What's his name? It was a rapper. T.I. T.I. was in it. Remember T.I. and David Dastmalchian and
No.
Yeah. No, that was it, right? I got the right name. Anyway, hi D. Cole. But okay, I know Jalen brought this up. The merger talk, I'm sure you mean not the Warner Brothers Paramount merger, but the Beck's Batman, the Batman merging with the DCU. I don't know. There's no need for us
Naomi
to do that.
Ackie made a
It's-
fucking joke, and everyone's going apeshit over like, oh, we thought to have Robert Pattinson in this, but he's in a different universe, so we can't do.
Yeah.
But now we're like,
We
oh
talked
my
about
God,
that yesterday.
they were gonna have Robert Pattinson. It's just no. It's just Naomi Ackie was in a movie with Robert Pattinson for WB, and she made a funny. And that's it.
Mhm.
That's literally it. But now people are going crazy. Oh my God, they're gonna fucking do it. It's like
it's
keep your dick in your
not,
pants.
It's not happening.
Calm down.
I think it also, to me, like, get excited for the DCU Batman, because eventually once this Clayface comes up against that Batman, then I mean, hallelujah. I don't even know if the Batman movies will go long enough for a crossover, but I can't wait to see what the DC Batman does when he comes up against this Clayface, because we're gonna know this character. We're gonna know the man behind the clay, essentially, and it's gonna make him more relatable. The trailer did.
Yeah,
slap.
I mean this is like kind of the
Definitely.
synopsis they gave.
Yeah.
Was Matt Hagen's meteoric rise from Gotham street kid to Hollywood leading man is tragically cut short when a local crime boss's actions leave him horribly disfigured, abandoned by his team with nothing left. Matt seeks out a cutting-edge treatment that miraculously returns him to his former self, but also unexpectedly affects his grip on reality, spiraling him down a destructive path of all-consuming revenge. It has Naomi Ackie, David Densick, Mike Minghella, and Eddie Marzen, as well as Nancy Carroll and Joshua James. And you can see the trailer right here.
Yeah, I mean the font for the trailer's logo, I don't know if it's very Batman-esque. It's very Stephen King-esque.
Very what I liked about it, you could I noticed this. I don't think anybody else noticed, but like in the first trailer, you see it like melting, like because it's like it's like the melting clay, but in this trailer, it looked like it was continually melting from the first trailer. Like the first trailer had it kind of stagnant and then melting a little bit, and then it's like kind of half melted, and then in this trailer it continues on from that half melted font and it continues to melt even more. I'm like, that's a good little tidbit. I noticed it, nobody else noticed it, but I noticed it.
A little Easter egg.
So
we
I
got
thought
a couple
that was
more
cool,
of those
like with how they like, it's like a continual, like he's melting further. They actually got a good DP for this, and not whoever the fuck shit on the lens in Supergirl.
No, dude, it's the same guy from Supergirl. I'm pretty sure.
No, didn't they change it? Didn't they change it? I thought they changed it. I thought they got rid of him and then.
No, I mean,
I thought they replaced him.
The same. I don't know. Well, look, the DP doesn't make or break the movie. It just
it just goes to show how powerful the director really can be, and the editing. How
it is the same guy.
Together.
It is the same.
Okay,
so again,
I could have sworn that he got replaced or something. I'm probably thinking of the Supergirl composers, were two of those
composers, where there were 4 of, including Junkie XL at one point. But yeah, no, I mean, look. Again, it goes to show you the DP. Like the DP can only do so much. It's the director that's ultimately calling the shots, and. Yeah, can't wait to see how this plays out. You got to pause that trailer, otherwise we're gonna get slapped for copyright.
We'll just look at that. But look at how cool that looks. Look how nice that looks.
Just really well shot. Because again, you could see that this movie might have a lot of CGI. Like I bet you everything behind the window, that Gotham City is CGI, but everything in front of it, the mise en scène is great. Like it looks practically shot. It gives the DP a lot of room to light it the way that they want to light it practically. And Robert Pattinson is not the Batman in this universe, Pookie, but we'd love to see who is eventually.
Wait, why is it surprising? Mike Flanagan fucking wrote it. He's peak. What are you talking about? Get out of here, sir.
Clayface, allow me to break the mold, Batman. Tonight, your fate is set in stone, or should I say set in sediment? What? No. Okay, sorry. I should have read that before I said it out loud. Anyway, John, there's a little is that an Avengers reference? I know.
No, it's Anarchy, maybe. It's
Easter
I mean, the thing is about Anarchy's
the trailer.
The character Anarchy symbol is the generic Anarchy logo. It's not like special to him. So it was probably just like it's just random graffiti, and it's just like, it's
remember, I think it was James Watkins the other day did an interview talking about like they're not gonna be giving us Batman cameos or anything, but they do have some little bits and pieces which try to tie things together that this is Gotham City, and maybe those will get paid off, but they're not trying to like distract.
I mean, it's
you from the
entirely
movie,
possible because it's like a quick thing. Because it's just like, if it's never, if it's like never touched upon again, and it's just like, it's a generic anarchy symbol. Like that's, I mean, that's essentially what it was before it was adopted by this character. But it's like, if Lonnie Micklin or something like that. What's his name? Well, at least the first Anarchy. Hang on a sec.
I will say this though, to Caleb's point, the Avengers Doomsday trailer, the movie technically is shot well. The VFX
Lonnie Macon is the first Anarchy.
And it's just like the Avengers Doomsday trailer is technically well put together. Like from a filmmaking standpoint, it just looks very uninspired and very flatly lit in a lot of places, and looks very CG heavy. This, on the other hand, John, everything in the Clayface trailer, you could see outside of a couple of shots, which were obviously like some CGI elements, especially like the monster transformation, which, I mean, how else are you going to do it? So, and again, for the $40 million movie, it looks really, really good. It looks very, and again, it feels tangible because there's not as heavy a use of CGI, because they're doing a lot of it practically. Granted, they will always have some invisible CGI, like they'll have hidden things that you don't notice, like sometimes they'll replace buildings with CG buildings because where they were shooting, you don't want the skyline to look like a real city, you want it to look like Gotham City. Like Christopher Nolan did that with The Dark Knight. They shot stuff in Pittsburgh and Chicago, but then they would replace the skyline in the distance with what they had built in post-production and CGI entire cityscape for Gotham, because they didn't want it to look like you were literally doing it in Chicago. So like those kind of small details, I think those VFX are much more prevalent here rather than in Doomsday's trailer, where we saw entire digital sets. Like, for example, whatever Doom was standing on while Thor is attacking him, it felt like everything in that sequence was CGI. There's going to be a lot less of that here because like the budget needed to do something like that. You can't pull that off for $40 million. So, but I mean, John, that's why like Joker became like one of the, probably the most profitable movie blockbuster of all time, that when it made $1 billion. I don't know if Clayface is going to make $1 billion, but again, if it makes 300-400 million, A, it will be more than Supergirl, which they spent 5 times as much making, and B, I think that would be the perfect way for DC to rebound going into next year with Man of Tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to this. But John, there is the one other thing. We've been talking about it, so why don't you just kind of walk us through? We do now get confirmation we're going to get.
I mean, James Gunn already fucking said this like months ago, but like Peter Safran reconfirms it that it's the same Clayface that was in Creature Commandos, and now he's, this is his origin story. So he's like, we've pinched elements from all over the place. And Watkins was also saying in terms of the marketing and not showing things, you don't want to show the shark. I think people give away too much. I believe in the power of mystery and the power of suggestion and the power of people putting 2 and 2 together. I think it's more fun. It's been a year since I saw that thing being built out. I can't wait for people to see it. I'm constantly in awe of the huge creative machinery that goes into making a film like this, and how talented everybody on board is, and how lucky I felt to be a part of that in any way. Going off of what Dan was saying in terms of what Watkins said about Easter eggs, there are little Easter eggs for those really in the know, but they're very light sprinklings, whether it's name references or occasional background references or visual illusions. If you didn't know this world, you wouldn't spot them, but they're not there for to pull people out of the story, and I appreciate that. Like, you see a symbol, you see a Flying Grayson's poster, you see the Anarchy symbol, you see this, you see that. Cool, great, but nothing too crazy, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I absolutely, I agree with everything you just said, and I'm willing to forgive if that live action version of this monstrous Clayface, when we get to that part of the movie, if it doesn't look super perfect, because it's like not a big budget, like not a huge budget movie by Hollywood standards, studio filmmaking standards. But even then, I think as long as the rest of the movie, the story's got you hooked, then I think nobody's gonna care about if there's one or two imperfect VFX shots. I think people care more when like the entire movie looks like it was terribly done with CGI. But Hunter Yee saying, what if James Gunn is the director of Clayface? Can you do a director cut of Clayface by adding a DCU Batman when he's announced and re-release it? First of all, James Gunn is not the director of Clayface, so that's a hypothetical. Like, it would be a different movie if he was. And I don't think there's any reason to add that in later. Like, once the DCU Batman is introduced, then you just move forward from there. Because clearly it doesn't look like Clayface is only going to be a one and done, in the sense that the character will continue forward regardless of whether they do a sequel or not. So I don't think we have to worry about that at all. And look, Joker caught fire in a way that very few movies do, especially the profile of the movie that Joker was. And you could only have to look at Joker Fall You Do to see how badly things can turn out on the other end of that spectrum. So there's no guarantee Clayface catches fire quite like Joker did. But John, do you think like Obsession, Backrooms, those could be good barometers in terms of how much money Clayface could make? Like 400 million,
I think it could make like 300 to 400 maybe, if we're being nice. I mean, they just kind of need to make, what was it? Yeah, honestly, they just need to make 100 million and they're good. And the thing is, even a bomb like Supergirl made 100 million. So that's 100 million would be a success, because that's like the number is like 2.5, double and half, which is literally $100 million. So if that's the case, it would be successful. So,
and even if you account for a marketing campaign, even if they spend another 40 million marketing it, like 150 million, it still breaks even at least. And if the reviews are good, the word of mouth is there, is coming out at a time of the year when there's not a lot of blockbusters immediately scheduled before or after it. I think all of those things will help play into this. And if the word of mouth is good, John, people show up for horror movies. This is coming out in October now, so it's this in prime horror season. So it's going to be already in theaters for a couple of weeks by the time you get to Halloween. And so there's going to be probably a second push to bring people in to see it when Halloween swings around. So I think Warner Brothers,
it doesn't have much competition. The only competition it has is Wildwood. I mentioned this yesterday, and now the Ali G movie, but nobody really fucking cares about Ali G except you.
Ali
so
G in the house. Yeah.
But like, come on, like Ali G is not a really big character, and he's
Ali G is not gonna be like competition for Clayface. It's not gonna be the reason why Clayface doesn't make money.
I mean, it hasn't even had a trailer yet, so those are the only two things. Is like, and one of them is, and technically both of them are counter programming. It's like, if you don't like horror movies, you could see funny Sacha Baron Cohen comedy, or if it's like you got a family thing, then you go see Wildwood. But even Wildwood's a Fathom event, so I don't know how many like show times it has that day.
It's a fraction of what you get from a wide release, like 100 screens at best. Whether you get with this being a wide release, you're probably going to see it in up to 4,000 screens. So
I mean, November isn't really a huge month right now.
They're putting out the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel in IMAX for 3 weeks and Thanksgiving time. I think end of Oak Street is August, so I think there's a couple of other ones, but I mean, to the point that Figure Drawing was making, not Figure Drawing, who said this in the chat? Chuck Rod. I don't think they're going to release too many more trailers. I think there's one more trailer they release when the movie's tickets go on sale. And if they do what Spider-Man did, which was more or less just a recap, not a true trailer.
November has mainly a lot of like smaller, probably the biggest movie that's coming out in November is The Hunger Games, but everything it's just like you got Cat in the Hat, you got I Play Rocky, you have that Jimmy Stewart biopic,
decent sized movies, but not going to be
Christmas Carol, How to Rob a Bank, Paper Tiger.
How to Rob a Bank is good.
The Fokker-in-Law, Hexed, Madden, Hershey, Adventures of Cliff Booth. So not a huge month. The biggest is definitely Hunger Games. So
yeah, that's the big one. But I mean, again, by the time you get to November, the movie would have already been in theaters for 2.5 weeks. So doesn't it come out October 11th or October 12th?
October 23rd.
23rd. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna happen in movie theaters for at least like a couple of weeks by that point. Like by the time you get to the first weekend of November. So Clayface is gonna have legs, and especially if it has good word of mouth, a high cinema
Well,
score,
he kind of has legs. You know, it's hard for him to walk because he's clay. But you know,
I know. I thank you for going along with the pun. But to Enterprising's comment, look, I understand the vocal minority in the internet. You know, the hardcore fans that we make up a small fraction of the people that actually go to the movies, saying, "Oh, just because it looks different than a Gunn movie, we're gonna go see it." Well, I think it was always going to be that these movies were meant to not look like a Gunn movie unless James Gunn was directing them.
Right.
I think that's part of the reason why Supergirl failed, because it was Craig Gillespie trying to make a James Gunn movie that then James Gunn came in and had his editor do a cut, and that cut ended up in theaters. So those are all reasons why Supergirl felt like a James Gunn movie, because James Gunn got so heavy-handedly involved with it toward the end because they were trying to save a disaster. Ultimately, they failed, but Clayface doesn't feel like it needs any of that kind of jazz. I think it's doing all together just fine onto itself. So, yeah, I think Clayface will be great. And John, would you like to see a final trailer like the month before it comes out?
I mean, well, they're gonna release one anyway, because then they usually, now the final trailer seems like a tickets go on sale trailer, where it's like 2-3 weeks beforehand,
maybe a month,
tickets go on sale,
and
then they, you know, they get that final trailer where you know they show the most stuff and all that. So I would imagine like late September, early October that they're probably going to do a final trailer. I'm going to try to avoid it, but like I'm going to be seeing horror movies in October, so I'm probably going to catch it. But
that's fine. I look, and usually you know, not every movie needs it. Depends. I don't really mind, honestly. They're not giving away a whole lot more. This trailer had a lot of footage that felt like it was either following up or giving us extended looks at what we got in the teaser trailer. So it's not like they're giving us entirely new sequences outside of a couple of shots here and there. So I do think they're saving the majority of the movie from the movie. We haven't seen some of the characters, some of the actors we know are in the movie in any of the trailers so far. So there's a lot we're missing that I'm sure we'll get when the movie actually comes out. But if you want to avoid the trailer, then I bet you, like, you know, September, the last trailer will come out, and feel free to not watch it. But yeah. Look, by the way, to that whole logic of, oh, just because people think this movie is good because it's not a Gunn movie, how that affects Man of Tomorrow. Well, everybody loves James Gunn superhero movies. His track record with superhero movies is almost flawless. So I don't think anybody's going to worry about the quality of Man of Tomorrow. And as the, you know, summer goes on, we'll have more set photos. I think those will belay any fears people have about Man of Tomorrow. Just look at the set photos from a month ago. And I don't know if there was a Zatanna reference in the trailer. I haven't spotted one, Patrick, but feel free to let us know what you're talking about specifically. But I don't think we saw anything that was like, oh, that's a Zatanna reference. People might just be speculating based on some little piece that doesn't really, like, you know, people like to make big leaps of like, oh, there's an A, that must be an Avengers logo. No, it's not that. It's just, you know, it's not even an Anarchy reference, probably, unless it's just there as more of like, you know, a nod to the fans who do appreciate it. And if you don't, then it's not going to take away from the movie. So anyway, John, before we wrap up, what would you give as a rating to this Clayface trailer?
10 out of 10. Perfect.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10, because I thought that transformation shot with the monster, like the over the shoulder one, you don't even really get to see him much. I think it was a little rough around the edges. So 9.5 out of 10. About as close to perfect as possible. So yeah. All right. On that note, we'll wrap up for the night. Not a lot of DC stuff today, but the Clayface trailer definitely, I think, from a PR standpoint,
DC showing Marvel how to make good movies. Are they going to make money? No, but they're going to make a quality movie, which is more they can say.
Look,
about
DC can't, with what they have coming up, DC can't make a bigger splash than Marvel this year, but DC could certainly try to right the ship and change the narrative on DC Studios films, because post Supergirl, they needed this. And also, James Gunn called it the new face of Gotham, John. So there you go. Until we get a Batman movie, this is the closest thing we're getting to anything out of DCU's Gotham. So yeah. Hey, but I got the van, you know? It's just, look on the bright side, John. Be like Louise, don't be like Caleb.
And B, Hashtag blessed.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you wanna shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka.
And fuck David Ellison and Jeff Snyder and especially Tom King.